Hello everyone, welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It's me, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my fantastic chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez.
Welcome. How's it going?
Great, DJ. I am stoked for this evening's show. It seems like we've been waiting for this one for months. And it's the only thing we've been talking about. You know, it's been Warner Brothers, it's been the DC Slate. That's all we've been doing for a long time. I keep thinking about changing the name of the show over it.
Yeah, the Zaslav Saga show.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just give it a subtitle with a colon.
Yeah, what is this part, like 18?
This is the culmination.
Point, we have more episodes in this saga than a typical season of 90s animated Spider-Man. You know, like suck it, Neogenic Nightmare.
Oh, we went to 2 different seasons.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said Sins of the Zaslavs.
How is everybody doing tonight? We're going to talk, as you can see on your screen in the title, about the new DC slate, and I intentionally did no preparation whatsoever for the show, and I want to say, first of all, thank you to everybody for not spoiling anything for me. I haven't found out about anything yet. I thought it would be a lot of fun. Call me self-indulgent if I just gave you my in-the-moment reaction to each of the movies that have been announced today. The slate came out at 12 noon, and that was 11 o'clock my time, so I could have known about it for the last 8 hours, but I chose to wait until now, so I still don't know. I'm clueless. I'm hoping this is not a situation where ignorance will have been bliss. I'm stoked, but I'm nervous. Like, I came into the show going, I think some things are going to be announced that I'll be really excited about. I think that James Gunn is overall liable to really nail this. There might be some things that I don't initially really care about, and who knows if every movie is going to be good, but I still maintain, and hopefully this doesn't change somehow this evening, but I still maintain that this is the right guy for the job. And then I looked in the comments and just trusted everybody to not spoil things for me, and they've been great about that. I didn't look at everything, but when I first jumped in, the first comment I saw was, Cap's not going to like this.
Oh, no.
And there's a lot of people apparently agreeing with that, so I'm very curious to see what that ends up looking like. I'm just going to watch James Gunn's 6-minute video, and I will pause it periodically and comment. So that's how I'm going to do this as a reaction. Austin suggested I do it that way, and I agree with him. So it will probably take us 15 or 20 minutes to watch this video, or better, because I can be a little bit long-winded, and I want to give you my immediate reaction to each of the announcements as soon as we get them, and then we'll talk about it overall after that, because with the complete slate, I'm sure I'll have a different perspective and different feelings than just, you know, each of them that we find out about. And I've been having some weird technical issues the last couple of weeks with my production machine. I don't really know what's going on, but it's been kind of difficult to do video playback and stuff, so hopefully we don't have any problem with that. I've adjusted some settings. We should be okay, but things are still running a little bit sluggish right now, so bear with me. I kind of feel like I'm standing behind the counter at a GameStop or a McDonald's or something saying, sorry, my computer is running very slow this evening.
You feel free to browse the Wii games while I'm searching for this for you. We have tons of them, and no one buys them.
And at McDonald's, I guess, you're just going to have to stand there. Maybe play with some straws.
They don't even have the little stand out in the front that has all the toys in it anymore, and like the little plastic case.
Oh, really?
Like
they do at the one I go to, or the one that I was going to. I don't eat at McDonald's anymore, but when I did, yeah.
I guess my McDonald's are too classy. They don't think they want to display the toys out front.
Well, we've had this conversation. They desperately want to be a coffee house now.
Yeah, they're all gray and white and fancy looking.
But I digress. So as always, feel free to leave a super chat in any dollar amount, and that guarantees that we'll talk about whatever you would like us to talk about during the show. We'll do Ask Me Anything when I'm finished going through this and giving you my in the moment response. I'll be as articulate as possible with no preparation, but please don't spoil anything for me in the super chats. Just to be on the safe side, though, I won't look at them until I'm finished with this, so I'm not actually going to be checking comments while we go. just because
I got him.
I totally sympathize with how difficult it will be to not accidentally spoil something as we're looking at this, and people are commenting on the stuff that they know about already. But then after that, feel free to put in super chats talking about anything that came up here, because then I'll know, and I won't be worried about spoiling it for anybody else. And there might be some other folks that decided to do this the way I'm doing it and don't know coming in. I bet most of you guys know what the slate is, but somebody might have thought it would be fun to do this the same way I'm doing it and go, I'll find out at the same time Cap is finding out. So anyway, and then after that, feel free to ask about this or any other geeky related topic, and you can also leave regular comments and we'll try to answer some of those as well. And make sure that you tag DJ Martinez, because he is the question reading guy. And DJ also has not taken a look at the slate today. He's coming into this blind just like I am.
Exactly, and this is just my normal life. I mean, you're living life on the DJ train now. This is how I do everything. I come in every Captain Logan show not knowing anything.
I was gonna say, this feels risky. This feels edgy to me, and you're just like, I don't need to know anything. I'm fine.
I'll play it by ear. I'll see how it goes.
And I mean, you're not a big DC guy anyway, but you also do this for Marvel. You also do this for stuff you actually have more of an investment in.
Oh, especially if I want to see it. I don't want to see any frames before I go to the theater. I want to be blind. Best experience.
Well, and then that's where I have to say, welcome to my world, because doing this show, you're forced to find out stuff.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot about things because of this show that I wouldn't have in the past, and it's been fine. I'm not like so obsessed with it now as I used to be. Like, I used to get mad at people for spoiling stuff. Now I'm like, whatever. I'll forget by the time it comes out because I watched a million things. So who cares?
All right, are you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
All right, folks, we're going to watch James Gunn, and I'm going to pause periodically. Here we go.
Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And
now, one question I have here is this his idea, or was that the job as it was presented to him when he first signed the contract? Like, because this idea of even the video games being all connected is real different for the superhero stuff. Even MCU doesn't do that. The only continuity I can think of where the video games are all also roped in is Star Wars.
Unless you count Ultimate Spider-Man comics, where they counted the video game there.
The one time, yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
If something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU content.
Okay, so finally saying Elseworlds, I really appreciate, because I've been saying forever, and a lot of our viewers say this too, you should have a line, it should be called Elseworlds, it's right there, it's obvious, and when we've had things like Joker, it's been easy to kind of call that Elseworlds, but it's really nice that they're going to go with the branding for that. That's absolutely what they should be doing, and I wish Joker was the first one. I wish in the first place it had that branding on it. Also, this is the first sentence that the first time ever in history that I've seen the Batman, Joker, and Teen Titans Go in the same sentence.
They're all part of the same line now.
Teen Titans Go, Elseworlds.
I really like this, by the way. We're like color commentaries. We're like color commentators. I love this pause.
Yeah, it's fun. We should do this more often.
All right, let's go. Here we go. Back in.
Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well.
It's really important to pretend like the crap that's been sitting in a drawer for 4 years matters before we take over and mess up everything. That's really important.
That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic...
Okay, so that suggests that he is...
Spoiler alert.
That suggests that he is using The Flash to get into his continuity, or that's what that movie was supposed to be in the first place, and right now he's being diplomatic and later on it's going to be like forget the Flash. But there have been all these rumors that why can I never remember his name?
Ezra Miller?
Crazy guy. Yes, that Ezra Miller is might be still continuing, and people kind of freaking out that they might be keeping him but getting rid of Cavill, and that drives people crazy. Do we buy that he loves the Flash? I guess we'll see when we get there.
Film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So, Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out.
Okay, so I'm sure that there are fans that are going to freak out in both camps with this, right? You're gonna have this is so diplomatic sounding, right? Especially coming from James Gunn.
Over Aquaman 2. And
yeah,
it's great. And it's gonna lead right in.
It leads right in, even though, unless this is just rumor territory and it's not really happening, even though the talk for the last few weeks has been we're getting rid of Jason Momoa as Aquaman. So when you say it leads right in, are you just trying to make the DCEU fanboys happy right now? And I think you're still going to have people on both camps that are really upset with you about that whole thing. Really, people that want a reboot like me, oh, boo, you're acting like it's connected. And of course, I'm taking all of this massively with a grain of salt. And then the big DCEU fans, oh, well, if it counts anyway, why can't we have what I want, which is hang on to all of it and keep Cavill around?
Weird. It's like he has a gun to his head on the other side of the camera with the studios saying, don't talk bad about the other 3 movies, because he doesn't seem to care about making people mad. He's totally fine with it on Twitter and stuff. So it's weird that he's being so diplomatic.
It's also weird how not scripted this looks, but how scripted it has to be, right?
You can hear it in his voice a little bit. It's at least very well rehearsed, if it's not 100% scripted.
Okay, moving right. By the way, I'm having so much fun with this. This is the show from now on. I'm never going to prepare for anything ever again. We're just going to do this. Okay, here we go.
An 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not
Gods and Monsters. And by the way, this is the only thing that I knew about this because it's in the title, and I couldn't help but see that. I think I'm gonna try to front load on Superhero Rewind Unscripted the really good DC animated Bruce Timm movie Gods and Monsters over sometime in the next few weeks, since that is the name of this whole thing.
Not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series.
What?
I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. The next project up is Wall.
Okay, so the only character I immediately recognized from that, and that's not a property I've ever heard of. I think they maybe made that up. Creature Commandos. Okay,
it's a beer, right?
It sounds like it, yeah. But that the only character I immediately recognized was Frankenstein, Agent of Shade. I'm pretty sure that's who that was, and that's a character that I think Austin and I talked about when we were suggesting movies we thought that he might do when we were giving our predictions. So when he says, so he's showing us animated or stills, preliminary drawings there, and saying that some of these characters are going to have live action counterparts. It's gonna be really weird to see Frankenstein, Agent of Shade in live action.
Oh, and please don't mute yourself, by the way, because I really liked your what when he announced that. It was great.
Moving right along.
This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DC.
I appreciate it whenever anybody says out of this world, not in a space context. Just never happened.
This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it.
Hey, we got a title.
And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO.
That just seems
quick.
That just seems early to me.
That's really quick.
Yeah.
So we're starting with Superman. That's a good place to start. It's not like we've tried that before.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I've said a lot in it, and we'll get back to this real quick, guys, but I've said in a perfect world, I'd like to start with Superman again, keep him the first superhero, really establish your foundation for your shared universe, for your interconnected movies with Superman. But the problem is that we just did it last time with Man of Steel, and if people don't like this movie, it's really easy to imagine that Warner Brothers does the same thing they've done before, which is just pivot real quick, go back to the drawing board, start screwing with everything. And that's kind of my worry. So, like, hopefully it works out and he really knows what he's doing with that. Because I've also said that I'd love to see James Gunn do Superman, and I can't believe that we're getting that. Because I want to see him prove that he can do something more wholesome, and I'm sure it'll still have something of an edge to it, but something that's real family friendly and more wholesome, and that he knows what a property is about before he just brings all of his gritty sensibilities to it. So like in a perfect world, that's a good thing. The problem is, the other problem with it though is that you're gonna rain down hell from above with the with the Snyder folks, who are already so mad that you got rid of Cavill, and then this just adds so much fuel for the fire. There's still a part of me that thinks that it's like 10 people on Twitter with 150,000 accounts each, or that they've programmed a bunch of bots, but every time he puts out a tweet about anything, even when it's just Happy Thanksgiving or a friend of mine just died, there's always a bunch of Snyder, people call them cult people, it feels like that, who pop in and go, oh yeah, well, it's really sad that your friend died, but why'd you get rid of Cavill as Superman? Like, people are just really mean about it. So this is inviting so much more of that.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about those idiots, because of course they're loud and obnoxious, but even on like posts that are just like totally wholesome, fine posts, just like, Cavill was a great Superman, there'll be like tons and tons of comments that are like just genuinely upset that he's not coming back, or sad that he's not coming back, not being angry or anything. I'm like, wow, I was not expecting that many people to have cared. I didn't know that many people were invested.
I also wish more people, and I don't mean to say like everybody should think like I do and like I'm right about this, but this is a case where it just seems like some people don't have the forethought to realize to weigh the cost benefit situation here. You know what I mean? You hang on to Cavill, you've still got so much baggage. And I know I've said this before, but people that go, yeah, well, you could keep the actor and just reboot the thing, it's so difficult to full on do that. Like it's complicated because it's confusing to an audience. And people always like to throw Ghost Rider at me with Nick Cage, and it's like, yeah, but that first movie people didn't care about that much. It didn't do that great at the box office. Man of Steel didn't perform the way they wanted it to, but it still made almost $1 billion at the box office. It's a little bit of a different situation.
Yeah, my only I don't know how I feel about it. I don't really have any feelings about this, but the whole title Superman Legacy, I don't love that, because like I feel like a ton of the internet is going to be like, oh, it's going to be like No Way Home. We're going to get all the Supermans. I'm like, no, it's not.
I like that title on paper because it suggests that it's a Superman that's been around. And because we got to get back to this. With Gunn sensibilities, we're gonna have especially with like the first project he mentioned. This is a living and breathing DC universe that exists already that we're just gonna be thrown headfirst into, and that's what it should be after 9 years of a false start. Anyway, moving right along.
Television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DC.
That's about the Red
Next
Lanterns,
is a big
right?
movie called The Authority.
The mystery is the Red Lanterns, right? No?
The mystery is there's other color lanterns.
Okay, so I said I wanted this whole thing in a perfect world to... I keep saying perfect world, but besides the Superman thing, which I just didn't think they'd do and wasn't sure was a good idea, that is what they're doing, that they should start with Green Lantern. And weirdly, they're kind of doing both. They're going to have a Green Lantern TV show, which, by the way, has been talked about for a long time. There was supposed to be one with J.J. Abrams, and I'm assuming that this is now a different project and that Abrams is no longer involved. A terrestrial procedural thing with Green Lantern is not what I want exactly, but that doesn't preclude the possibility of they're still mixing it up with some cosmic stuff at the same time. And Jon Stewart's my favorite Green Lantern, so I'm happy that he's going to be there. I'm glad that it's not just Hal Jordan. It's kind of nice that they'll have a mix, and saying a few more means that you're almost certainly going to get Guy Gardner, because everybody loves jerks that mouth off at everybody. So they'll have to have, especially James Gunn.
James Gunn, yeah.
So they'll have to have that, yeah. That seems, that has potential, certainly.
Yeah, don't love the title. It sounds pretty lame. Lanterns.
Lanterns? Yeah, it sounds like a CW show.
Yeah, it's like Arrow.
It's Arrow.
Or Amazon or all, yeah.
Lanterns. Yeah, good call. No, don't do that. Of course, I really wanted a Green Lantern Corps show, and that's not what we're getting. But yeah, that's a little bit weird.
Maybe the title will change. We've got 2 years.
It's just a little weird with Gunn at the helm of all this, because the assumption that I made was that he would take everything real straight off the page as much as possible. And maybe story-wise and everything, it still will be that. Obviously, he's not making everything all by himself. But yeah, I'm with you on the title. That's weird. Okay, moving right along.
The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU.
I shouldn't be surprised
and will
about
interact
that.
with all
I
of our
didn't call
primary
it.
DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost.
Okay, so I don't immediately care about that. I've never read The Authority. I know folks that really like that material. I'm sick of real rough and tumble, kind of more cynical superheroes in the real world kind of stories.
Yeah, let's get a DC universe first before we start bringing in like alternate teams of. That seems like a weird choice so early on. Like that could be like a phase 3 or something.
But again, it's starting to look still kind of murky about just how much of a reboot this really is. Because the Amanda Waller thing still throws me off. Like, the problem is, see, I agree with you,
and
DJ.
Yeah, what's up with that? They're like, oh, we need a younger Superman. But Amanda Waller can just be, how she can age, she can be fine, I guess.
And be the exact same character that she was in the first place, by the same actress. Yeah. And so they're going to use, here's my prediction. They are going to, in fact, use Flash to Flashpoint this and cherry pick and keep what they want to keep, even though they've been talking about it like somewhat more of a full-on reboot. So even though I think recasting Cavill is the right move, mostly because I want to see a total full-on reboot, we're still not completely getting that. So that makes me sympathize a little bit more with people that want that, but then I also need to see what that movie is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, moving right along. Paradise Lost.
Yeah, what in the world?
You're making that okay?
Paradise Lost is a story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman.
Yep.
It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island.
Oh, you want a way to make this as violent as possible.
The DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damien.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh.
So I need to pause for a second. I don't mean to come off like a crazy raging fanboy guy, but I just need a minute to process some of this. Okay.
Paradise Lost first.
Can I process for a second? Because I'm having feelings very quickly.
Oh, why are we going so recent?
Very quickly. Okay, so DJ, we've still got like 2 minutes left, and I'm tingling a little bit. I'm tingling.
I'm feeling for you, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, so the Paradise Lost thing might be okay. That's an excuse to make Wonder Woman as violent as
But I
humanly
liked
possible.
Superman Wonder Woman that we had. We had a good Wonder Woman movie where she was Superman.
Yep. No, I did too. This could still be good too. There are lots of different ways to do that character.
Yeah, of course. But...
And if that second movie had been better, or if more people had liked it, they would probably keep it in a bubble.
Yeah, I feel like this might be reacting to that because that second movie was so cheesy. But I don't want that. I want her to be a good role model still and like positive, but I don't want it to be that cheesy.
No, you just want Donner instead of Lester. That's all. She went to Lester for the second one. Go back to Donner for your third one.
Exactly. Don't go to Game of Thrones, like you said.
Okay, so he's looking at Morrison real hard for his new Batman, and that means that we are going to indeed get, because we speculated a ton about this in various shows, that means that we're going to get a Batman continuity all by itself, the Batman, and then he's going to have his own Batman that might be, I want to say lighter, but you're throwing Damien in there, so probably not. It's just going to be a different sort of, it'll probably be more over the top and stylized, or in maybe more of a pseudo cartoony way, but then it'll still be somewhat rough and tumble at the same time. Let's go ahead and listen to this, because I wanted to go, oh cool, Brave and the Bold, and oh cool, you are indeed doing your own Batman, and I'm glad that Batman is getting his own movies in this continuity. That's the thing I was concerned about. I didn't think he would, so that's good. You're gonna start with Damien? That means we're gonna get freaking Damien Wayne on screen before we've ever seen Nightwing in live action, before we get
Robin
Tim Drake, and before the Batman gets to Robin, which makes you wonder if they ever will. Which, I mean, I'm not a huge Robin, but like I don't care that much, but I do like those individual characters. Okay, whatever. Anyway, sorry. Here we go.
Damien Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damien Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU.
No,
Next
you can't
up
be
is
the
a TV
beginning of it.
series
No! No!
They're starting. Wow.
No! Did you see who was on screen?
I didn't. I was.
Did you see who was on screen?
Chats. I was copying some super chats. People are leaving us super chats, but.
Did you see who was on screen?
No, I did not. Oh, is that Booster? Good old Booster.
I'm out. Good night, everybody.
What have we done?
I don't want to watch any more of this.
We have Superman and Green Lantern. Then we have Wonder Woman and Batman that we're not crazy excited about.
I don't want to do
straight
this
to all
anymore.
these obscure guys.
I don't want to do it.
Well, this is backfiring, guys.
Look, these movies and shows might all be great, and I'm still a lot more excited for the future of a shared DC universe than I have been in years and years, because I think some of this will be quality. But Gunn very clearly has too much control over this.
Yeah, it seems
that was a little bit of a worry. I thought we would get a little bit more, and like there is a variety to this, but it's got stuff in it that I really hate, and or just kind of dislike. Freaking Booster Gold.
It's just a tinge of Gunn and everything, which is what I was worried about.
Okay, here we go.
Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy.
No, he's
a
not.
loser from the future.
That is true.
Who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him.
I'd be more excited if you just did a solo movie with his sidekick Skeets. Wait
a second.
If they just pitched a movie called Skeets.
Hey, he wants to do a character about a loser. He's never done that before.
It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series
it's
from
HBO
last
Max.
year
Well,
was Tom
that's better.
King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
That's
And so
better
we're-
because it's a little bit easier to ignore.
I don't know though, because he's talking about how intrinsically connected everything's going to be.
Yeah,
between
Marvel said that
TV
too, and how
movies.
easy is it to skip some of those shows? but I guess we'll see. I like Supergirl. I have not read the Tom King thing. People said good things about it, but so I might try to do a review of that soon. Now that we know that's coming.
We're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible...
Okay, can I complain just for 1 second about the title here? And I had this problem when that comic was coming out. We've got Superman, Man of Steel. You know, a little redundant, man. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. If she's a girl, if she's a woman, why don't you just call her Superwoman? I don't understand that. Supergirl, it's almost like it's protesting too much. It's like, don't worry, we know that Supergirl is like too outdated and sexist somehow. I don't think it is, but whatever. But we'll throw woman in the title, and now we fixed it. But we still have to use Supergirl because that's always been the branding. Okay.
way. So she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing
Called
we're
it.
going to talk about. A very dark horror story in the origins of the monster.
But that's
who
fine. I thought
is
they should make
Swamp
that.
Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories.
What?
Anyway, those are the stories
that
that
mean?
I can tell you about right now.
I don't know what some of this means.
You said tonally outside, not totally.
Oh, I thought he said totally.
No, just tonally
And my
outside.
brain exploded. Okay, well, let's listen to the rest of this. Sorry.
I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Okay, so my overall response is pretty mixed. I'm having issues with my mic too. Just the whole world is exploding here. In every
Cap's world is falling apart.
It's falling apart. Yeah. Damien Wayne, boo. Booster Gold, boo. Paradise Lost. Yeah. Whatever. The Green Lantern thing is not. It doesn't sound like what I wanted from that, but I'll reserve judgment, certainly. The things that I'm most immediately curious about are actually the Supergirl project, not having read that book. Because if they look at the New 52 stuff and they incorporate any of that character in it, I'll be immediately interested because I love that version of the character. Like a lot. She's probably my favorite Supergirl. But I do have to say, DJ, I appreciate that at least with that project, because remember, it's not like this is all they're making. This is the first few years. That suggests that moving forward, they might go to other specific stories and try to adapt, right from a comic story. And that's exciting. There's a lot of different possibilities there. So I was surprised that he said that. He's like, okay, Tom King wrote this book. It's called Superman, Woman of Tomorrow, or Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And we're making that. And that's the thing. That's cool. Like, I don't know if that book's any good because I haven't read it, but I like that part of it. Swamp Thing, I thought was inevitable and probably something they should make and will be real, like he said, tonally different than the other things that they're making. So that's good. It's nice to have a variety of types of films that will have to be more of a horror kind of thing. And I don't think Warner's is tying his hands behind his back with anything, considering some of the crazy things he's choosing to make right away. Some of this is counterintuitive, and some of it is almost obvious, and I can't believe I didn't think of it, because it's counterintuitive if anybody else is there, but it's the clear thing that would happen if Gunn is there, right? So yeah, Superman, Supergirl, maybe. Brave and the Bold makes me sad, but I'm glad they're doing their own Batman. And then what else? The Authority, like I said, I can't get excited about that. It's weird that's in the first wave.
Yeah, it's weird.
So yeah, I'm pretty mixed. There's nothing that I'm just jumping up and down for. You notice I didn't like hoot and holler about anything. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I almost did with Brave and the Bold, and then he said Damien, and I had to pause everything and like meditate on camera to get through that moment.
You had to do some deep breathing exercises.
I did. I really did.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. That's a bummer. I was hoping that you would be like you said, hooping and hollering, and I could watch you be very excited. I mean, I don't know Waller. I'm pretty pumped about Waller. HBO TV show about Waller. That sounds pretty cool.
Folks, like I said, been having some weird technical issues. Just let me know if you can see and hear us okay, if anybody's having any issues with the stream. DJ, you said there were some super chats. Let's go ahead and get into those.
Yes, sir. Tons of them here.
We'll open it up to you guys now for the rest of the show. We've been going about 40 minutes, and we usually go for a couple hours if there's enough interest. So we'll take a break at about the hour mark. So feel free to leave us questions about anything you want to throughout the rest of the time. Doesn't just have to be about this, but we can mostly stick on this if you are so inclined. Okay, go right ahead.
Our left choice for Lex Luthor in the DCU, Chris Pratt. Because people dislike him in real life, own that. Own the real life hatred. Is what Brightburn says.
And I'm sorry, I missed about half of that because I was having mic issues. Would you mind repeating that just very quickly?
Of course.
Thank you.
He says he has a left field choice for Lex Luthor in the DCU.
Chris Pratt. That's weird.
Him in real life.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't. With respect, that doesn't seem like a great choice for the way that character is typically characterized. But also the idea that like people don't like him, so own that. I think a lot of people do like Chris Pratt. You have what I think is probably a vocal minority that just has issues with his politics or lack thereof, and that's what you hear people complain about. It's just the loudest voice.
Yeah.
DJ, can you hear me?
About the slate?
Okay, my apologies, guys. I'm going to go on just a real quick break and try to fix my mic, and I'll be right back.
Sure.
Okay, hopefully we're okay now. But if I continue to have issues, I will switch mics out. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Did you want me to read that one from Philip Kelton?
Yes, please, because I missed all of that.
He said, "Let's all vow we won't watch any more superhero movies."
Well, I mean, I'm not going to do that.
Who's in? Who's in Geekvolution?
I am curious to know how many people are actually interested in most of this, and how many people are kind of turning against it real hard. Because when I saw people before we started broadcasting saying I probably wouldn't like it, I wasn't sure if that was going to be the consensus or if it was just, oh, I saw Booster Gold and I know how Cap feels about that.
Yeah, I'm not really. I'll just say real quick. Now that you've opened it up, I'm not very excited about any of this as a person who's not into DC at all. Really, I mean, not at all, but like I didn't grow up with it.
Yeah.
I was excited for a restart because I wanted to get some like iconic, classic versions of these characters, and it doesn't seem like I'm going to get any of that.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what I thought was going to happen too. It looked like he was most likely, especially because of the way he made the Suicide Squad, or at least the arc he was looking at, the characters he chose, that Gunn was most interested in late 80s, early 90s stuff. And this, like you said, most of this is drawing from very recent material. And I expected a little bit of that, but I mean, like, I think the earliest thing he's looking at here is maybe Morrison on Batman and Robin. Well, I guess the Authority is a lot earlier than that, but
that was like outside of DC and folded in, right?
yeah. Yeah, I would have thought that would be more of an Elseworlds kind of thing. Like, that's in this continuity? Oh, really? Okay.
That's weird. I hope that doesn't mean they're going to try to rope in Watchmen eventually. Anyway.
I don't think you can put anything past them. Like I think, I want to think that he wouldn't do that and he would have more integrity than that, but I don't mean to sound suddenly sour on him after this, but some of this I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I could see the Watchmen thing. There are interests he has that I didn't realize. When he's like, I'm a big Booster Gold fan, I'm like, I don't know if I trust you anymore.
I don't know if I trust your taste or intelligence anymore.
My favorite Robin is Damien Wayne. Oh, really? Oh, we can't be friends. I don't...
Like, you can like Damien Wayne, but your favorite
Robin? You put him over Tim Drake? Oh, okay. Did we have a question that I actually answered?
No. I was just getting to that.
Okay, sorry.
Jay Forever King, $5.
Hi.
I'm so happy Cap's favorite Robin is coming to live action. The League of Shadows will probably be the antagonist again, unfortunately.
Well, they'll say League of Assassins. There's no way it'll be League of Shadows in this case. The first word he used was assassins, so it'll be assassins. Yeah,
a little assassin.
It'll be like the 7th live-action Ra's al Ghul on screen now. Never thought you'd see that many of those, but...
Played by Willem Dafoe. Oh, that was before we started filming.
No, we weren't streaming. No, you're giving away videos I want to make down the line.
That's true. You guys will see that soon. Coming at you.
Part of the problem is the era I grew up in versus some of the younger people growing up that are going to be the prime targets for a lot of this material, and that's a thing that I was not considering enough, certainly. I always think that guys like Gunn would label to, sort of like Snyder did, err on the side of trying to adapt the most well-known material. But I also have to remember that we're 9 years now past Man of Steel, past the beginning of the original DCEU, and there not only has there been a lot more comic history since then, but there were, like preteens and teens that are full-grown adults now. So of course they're looking at more of that material if they're of the stuff that was around then when they're starting over, and that's what's going on now. And the DCEU was like, let's kind of look at New 52, but not full-on do New 52 just for like tone and stuff. That's why you've got so much of the iconography that you have, particularly with parademons and that iteration of Fourth World and all of that in Justice League. And now we're even past that stuff. And so anyway, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but it didn't occur to me he was going to go that way.
Next up, Mutale, what's your top 5 ranking of Geekvolution co-hosts? A little bit of a curveball there. Left turn.
I don't like these kinds of questions. I've worked with lots of fine people, and I don't want to put one above another. I don't think that's fair to anybody. I don't think it's fair to even name a top 5 and not rank them. So like, I know it's a super chat, and I hate to not answer a super chat, but I always say within reason, and I'm going to say that's kind of unreasonable. I appreciate everybody that's ever come on the channel, even folks that don't work with me anymore, that aren't coming back. It's been wonderful getting to meet and work with so many different personalities and folks that have taught me a lot and given me lots of different perspectives. And everybody I'm working with now, I love just as much as the guys I was working with before. And I don't mean to give the diplomatic non-answer, but it's how I feel about it.
Vince is number 1. That's all we need.
That's how I actually feel about it. Yeah, I'll say that if I'm not putting Vince as a personality above everybody else, but he and I kind of started this thing together, and if he had never, if he still had the time and the interest to keep around and doing this. I wish he had stuck around, certainly. And we just had him on last week. He and I are still very close, and we still hang out. And he's talking about coming back maybe a little bit more often if he's got the time and he can. So I don't want to give anybody's hopes up or anything. He's not going to come on weekly or anything, but we might be able to get him to come back every so often. But yeah, I mean, I would still be doing this, me and Vince, once or twice a week at 14 years in if he was around and available. And if Eric still had time and he wanted to be here, obviously, I didn't want anybody to go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I didn't get rid of anybody. So yeah, that's as much of an answer as I'm willing to give on that.
Yeah, that was awesome to have Vince back last week, and I hope he didn't mind me stealing a photo from his Facebook to use for the thumbnail. I hope he was okay with that.
I wasn't sure where you got that.
I felt bad. I was like, I feel weird, but I definitely didn't want to use a photo that had like any of his family or his daughter or anything in it. So I just pulled one of him just standing there by himself. I'm like, maybe he won't mind. But anyway.
No, he won't care.
Okay.
He was wonderful in that show. We covered a multitude of topics. And everybody said it really felt like the old days. He and I could. I'm sorry. What did you say?
No. Go ahead.
Vince and I could not see each other for 3 straight years. That's never happened, but we could. We could not see each other for 3, 4, 5 years, and then get in a room together, and it's like we just hung out yesterday. Like, we have such a specific and well formed rapport that it's just that that kind of bond that you make with some people, especially if you spend enough time with them. That I don't see Eric very much anymore, but as soon as he and I get into a room together, it's like we're still living together. You make that bond with certain people.
Absolutely. Another one from Utale. Let's see if it's as unreasonable. Cap, what's your most underrated and overrated video?
Oh, why are we talking about me so much right now?
We're taking a little detour from the DC. I'm sure we'll get back to it.
So I want to say we've got a bigger crowd right now than we usually do. And if you're not used to this channel, or if you've never watched me before, first of all, welcome. Thanks for being here. And second of all, I'm really sorry that all I'm doing is talking about myself right now, because that's what the questions are at the moment. This happens. I really spend too much time on stream talking about myself, and it's not always my fault. So what do I have to talk about?
What do you think your most underrated and overrated videos are?
Oh, that's interesting. And by underrated and overrated, he probably means like videos that are way more watched than you would expect them to be, versus videos that don't get watched at all, but that you're proud of. I have answers for this. What were you going to say?
I was going to say overrated. You kind of have a clear answer, because we've talked about this before. Your most viewed video seems like a strange... that it's the most viewed.
Right off, I don't remember what the actual most viewed video is. It's one of the Marvel Manias, is it not?
Yeah, it's like a random one that just like got a bunch of traction.
I know Blade 2 has a ridiculous number of views. That might be. Yeah, we have a Marvel Mania that's like 220,000 views. And I don't know why so many people clicked on it. It wasn't even a popular movie. But I was going to say, yeah, it's that series in general. Is
that first one, phase 1,
is one of the real big things. And then for most underrated video, and this is just in my mind because I saw it pop up in a feed again the other day, and I was thinking about it, and I want to make more videos like this. But I did a retrospective on a thing that I have a lot of nostalgia for from when I was a kid, that most everybody else doesn't care about or doesn't even remember or is too young to know about. But I did a retrospective on Cool Spot several years ago, the 7-Up mascot, and it's a half-an-hour scripted video. It's one of the most polished things I've made, and I showed a lot of the commercials, and I did kind of a deep dive analysis into what I thought that was doing culturally and how it affected the culture, and then I reviewed every Cool Spot video game, and I had a ton of fun making that. I want to do more things like that, DJ. That was, I called that, at the front of that it says Cap's favorite things, and I thought I might be making a pilot for a series that would be Cap's favorite things, and so it would be, and I did that with one other thing a little later, which was the Jurassic House video, which is also a scripted, polished video that I called Why I Like Jurassic House. That was about Jurassic World Dominion, and I talked about how terrible that movie is, but how much I love it as a big budget B movie. essentially. And I got a lot of flack on that video, but I was happy with it. And anyway, so I did the Cap's favorite things thing at the beginning of that, and I want to do more retrospectives on things like that I'm a big fan of that maybe other people are not as familiar with, or stuff that I just don't talk about that much. I've been thinking about doing a Tick retrospective like that would be more of, but it would be longer. That would be a real
documentary, yeah.
Deep dive documentary history of the Tick. There's a couple of videos that go ins and outs of the history of the Tick. Like one of the big comic channels did a thing like that. But I would get even more nitty gritty into the background and talk a lot more about Ben Edlund and where he comes from, and as much as I could find about the making of the various TV series and how they all compare to the comics and licensing issues with all that. And I want to call it. I've never talked about this, but this is the thing I've been thinking about for a long time. I'm gonna have to get my Superhero Rewind movie made before I can even start thinking about making this, but it might be the next big thing I do after that. And again, I don't know if anybody will watch it. That Cool Spot video, it finally is up to like 1,400 views now, so a few more people have found it. But when I posted it, I didn't get more than 300 or 400 views in the first couple of weeks. But anyway, I want to call that Tick history video the nigh complete history of the Tick.
That's pretty cool.
That's
Well, that's a double entendre.
Exactly.
I mean, we hope, because it would be a bummer if we never got any more Tick after that.
Oh, that's a good point.
It didn't work.
I didn't think of it like that. It's just the Tick calls himself nigh invulnerable, so we're going to call it the nigh complete history of the Tick. Okay, moving right along. There's a bunch more super chats, it looks like, and thank you guys so much for your support. Really appreciate it. We are about 8 minutes from the hour, so we'll do one or two more and then we'll take a break. Go ahead, DJ.
Carl Maxey, $5.
Hi.
I thought Gunn wanted a clean slate. Viola Davis and John Cena shouldn't be part of the new direction if he's rebooting everything.
Is anybody else surprised we didn't hear anything about Lobo? Which makes me think that he's in the Superman movie. And I was kind of predicting that anyway, but there's been a lot of talk that... But, like, there wasn't anything here about this, so I'm taking everything with a grain of salt right now, right? Like,
he didn't say anything about the Superman movie, except he's writing it. Like,
yeah. But he also didn't say anything about Jason Momoa past Aquaman 2, except...
It leads right into his universe.
It leads right into the next thing he's doing, and I'm calling probably not, though.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see. Maybe so. It's just... How much of the things we thought we knew were rumors that were likely true, and how many of them were things that were definitely happening, and how many of them, like Gunn said when he responded to a professional article, when you remember that that was it Entertainment Weekly, or I forget what the website or the magazine was, but there was an article that was published that we covered here on the show where he said, okay, some of this is true, some of this is not true, some of this is partly true, and some of this might be true now but could change. And I'm wondering how many things we've heard already were things that were being kicked around that they've already changed their mind about. You know, this is all very, very fluid.
I don't know. I feel like the Zaslav wave is not over. I feel like this is just the beginning.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I didn't entirely actually answer the question. I just went off about Lobo. But what was what exactly was he asking?
Carl says that Viola Davis and John Cena should not be a part of the new direction.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that was just an opinion that he was making. Yeah, I agree with that too, or I'm a hypocrite, right? Because I'm saying, well, no, get rid of Henry Cavill, because. Well,
it's just because
it's
they're
so
in his
sticky,
movies,
though.
Right?
Because of Suicide Squad?
It's just because they're in his movie and his show.
Yep. Well, and here's the thing.
Cool.
I full-on expected that. And that's why when we did our speculation cast, Austin and I immediately went, okay, look, I'm not going to get what I want. I'm not going to get a full-on reboot. So I'm taking that into consideration as I'm making predictions. And then we got what sounded like clear word. No, it's pretty much a straight-up reboot. And now we're back to the whole line of keeping what he thinks works and changing the rest of it. And I'm like, I feel like I wasted some time talking about some of this because I don't feel like I know anything. Like that made me ask more questions than it answered. It really did.
It's I don't know. I don't want to call him. I don't even know what the lesser. I don't want to say egomaniac because it's not that extreme. But like, it's whatever a lesser word for that is, because it's very strange. No one has ever done this. Like Kevin Feige doesn't go and announce and like put out a video. Like they do that at the conventions. It's very he clearly wants his face to be associated with the DC universe, that he himself is presenting all the videos.
Or Warner's does.
Or yeah.
You know, what I like about that, and like I totally understand your reservation with that, your concern with that.
I was trying to find a not negative way to say that, because I don't think it's a negative thing. I'm just saying, like, he wants to be. I don't know if he wants to be or if they want him to be, but he is front and center, and whether you like it or not, he's the face of this new universe.
On the one hand, it does feel kind of. Yeah, I don't know what the right word is either. Like, it's not exactly self-aggrandizing, but it's too much like one person's face up front, and it kind of suggests that he's making all of it, that he's the architect, and then the next thing he makes, he's just going to use the word ergo every other sentence because he's the architect. But so I get the reservation with that. On the other hand, it's real smart from a marketing standpoint because his movies have been successful, and because it's making a clear statement that there is an actual human being that has made movies people have liked and understands storytelling at the helm, and not just guys in suits sitting at a boardroom table making all the decisions. Yeah. The fact that we didn't have a face before besides Snyder was kind of an issue, but also it just retroactively, but also the fact that Snyder was as front and center as he was may have something to do with this as well, where they're going, well, Snyder had his big fan base because I think Warner Brothers thinks that the obsessive Snyder fanboys are more numerous than they are, and they go, we want to replace that image. We still need a Zack Snyder, but somebody that, you know, knows what he's doing. So that's got to be front and center. He's got to have his face in front of everything. But the other thing too, DJ, is they're not doing fandom anymore. So when you say...
And the world's a better place.
I agree, and it won't be anything like as awkward. And if it was just like the directors each making a 5-minute video going, this is what we're making... There wasn't anything cringeworthy about that. He was just telling us stuff, right? Like,
no,
take
I didn't.
that.
Yeah, that's what I said. It wasn't a negative thing. It was just something I noticed. They're really pushing Gunn as the Feige, which is what they said from the beginning. So it makes sense. It's just... I think it's
Feige
a weird
doesn't
choice.
do a bunch of interviews all the time. I mean, you see him every now and again, but...
Well, and I think that's smart to not say. I don't like Gunn's whole plan. Like, he says so much on Twitter, and I know he deletes them later, but still, like, people screenshot. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I don't know why he does that.
No, they stick around. It's not like they actually disappear. But the reason I mentioned fandom is you said the only thing I'll take issue with what you said is we used to just do this stuff at conventions. That's true, but they were already going to more kind of online viral marketing things for announcements and stuff anyway. And when, you know, before the Batman came out at Fandom, you had that director in an interview talking for like half an hour, 40 minutes. Like, he was more upfront than a lot of directors have been in the past until you get to DVD features and stuff. So, I mean, there is some precedent for this, certainly.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, if that's the direction DC is going, it's a heck of a lot cheaper to stick him in front of a white wall with one camera than to put together a whole convention. So.
And the whole world changed after the pandemic.
Yeah. Shall we roll on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's do one more, and then we'll go ahead and take a quick break.
All right. So we did Carl Maxey. Ian Chandler, $5. Hey, Cap.
Hi.
Have you seen Sonic Prime? It's actually okay and keeps the environmental message the movies lacked. Yeah. I'm looking forward to more of it.
That was the big thing I appreciated about that. I saw the first couple of episodes, and then my kids kept watching it without me. So I haven't been able to finish it because they just kept going with it. But yeah, I thought there were some odd counterintuitive choices in starting the story where they started it and everything. But I thought the writing was pretty clever. And unlike Sonic Boom, it's actually got, you know, an action component, and that's nice. But yeah, it's made by Man of Action, which is why the writing is as good as it is. I didn't realize that until I started watching it. Animation is pretty solid. It's got some really weird choices. There's this quick, minor spoilers for that show. First episode, or maybe this is the second episode, introduces a group of eggmen, however you want to call it, Robotniks. That are all of different... They do a multiverse thing with it, and they're of all different ages, and one of them is like a baby Robotnik, and he's the creepiest of them, and it's very strange, but it kind of keeps you guessing. I was enjoying it. I kind of feel the same way about Shadow the Hedgehog as I do Damien Wayne. I could live without that, but...
You don't want a hedgehog that has a machine gun? Come on.
No, not really. Wait, he does it in that,
That's good. That's a good change. Good adaptation. A
Shadow, a hedgehog with a machine gun. The only possible answer.
That's what that's what they say over at Sega.
Is that what they say?
Man, the way you just explained that whole Eggman thing,
Yeah.
I am shocked that in the Sonic movie, they didn't just make Eggman like Gru and give him a bunch of little minion guys. That is totally what I could see like a studio have done when those movies came out.
Thank God for small favors. Because as much as I didn't care for that movie, at least they didn't do that, where Jim Carrey's playing all of them, and it's like it's like the Oompa Loompas from the Willy Wonka remake, like Deep Roy.
Yeah, Deep Roy. Good
Or
old
it's
Deep
just,
Roy.
or it's just Deep Roy playing all the Robotniks also.
Yeah, I'll take that. Sure.
It will be really interesting to see. Real quick, going back to the DC thing. Sorry, I just saw a comment about possible casting choices for Batman. It's gonna be interesting to see who they pick for a different Batman, because now you got to cast as far and away from the other guy you've got.
Yeah. Are we gonna have the same problem where they get an old Batman and a young Superman again?
Wouldn't that be weird?
It would be weird. That would be repeating mistakes, I would think.
I don't think you'd do that if your movie is called Superman Legacy.
I don't know. Didn't he say early on that he wanted a younger Superman? And that's like in the press release when they
That's a
got
good
rid of
point.
Cavill.
But I don't think they'll have a Batman that's a lot older than their Superman, is all I'm saying. Especially if you have a thing called Batman Brave the Bold. But then he'd have to have some history behind him. He's got a son that's Robin.
That's 12 years old.
And is his son going to be the first Robin, or are we going to have a bunch of history that we didn't see? Because like I said before we watched that video, I assume that this is a DC universe that has been going strong for a long time, and we're just being dropped in it. Look at... I know you didn't see this, but look at the Suicide Squad. There's a bunch of just pre-established material there and characters that have been around a long time, and they kind of tried to do that retroactively toward the beginning of the DCEU anyway, even though it kind of felt like this was not a world of superheroes in Man of Steel, which is why Suicide Squad was such a whiplash kind of experience. That and the fact that it was... really badly structured. That also created a lot of whiplash. 15 minutes of introduction and then 10 more minutes of introduction. But it was like, oh, okay, and Killer Croc's in this universe. And Joker and Harley Quinn have been going on for years and years. And yeah, I mean, I guess we already knew some of that because the retroactive thing already happened with BVS. Because, the curtain peels back and Batman's been doing his thing for like 10 years or whatever.
Yeah. Somebody, AMC Comics in the chat said, what are the odds that we have two concurrent Batman movie franchises and one is The Batman and the other is Brave and the Bold?
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah, subsequent animated Batman things. The next thing you're going to tell me is they're going to make a live-action version of Batman the Animated Series. That won't make any sense.
Or what was the most recent Batman show, the 3D one?
Beware the Batman.
Beware the Batman.
Which,
that'll be the...
Okay, but... that still has The Batman in the title, which means the best you could hope for is that is the name of a sequel to The Batman.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yeah.
That'd be okay. And then if we'll get the trifecta if they do indeed greenlight a Batman Beyond movie, which I thought there was an outside chance could happen here, but did not. And I also was really holding out hope for Resurrection Man, but alas. Did not get my Resurrection. Freaking Booster Gold. but no Resurrection Man.
I thought you might have a good chance with Gunn. That seems like a Gunn thing.
It does, yeah. Well, especially because he pulled out like The Authority, which was, don't get me wrong, popular, and Resurrection Man was, what do you call it? Not. Okay, we're going to go ahead, unless I stepped over a question. Did I step over a question?
No, we talked about it.
Guys, we're going to go ahead and take a 3-minute break, because that's how long the music is, and then we'll be right back, and we'll do part 2 of tonight's The Captain Logan Show. Thank you so much for being here. We got a big crowd tonight. Stick around, won't you? See you in a bit. And we're back. It's time for the second half of the Captain Logan Show. And DJ, what do you see in the comments there? And everybody feel free to throw in more Super Chats if you're so inclined, or regular comments with questions aimed at DJ Martinez. Go ahead, sir.
Real quick, is your
Yes.
like mic cord almost out or something? Because I'm getting like a predator clicking in my ears. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what was causing this in the first place. I'm having connection issues with this mic.
Okay.
And I'm afraid I'm going to have to replace it again, and I just bought this like 2 months ago. I'm maybe going to have to stop going with Yetis, DJ, because I keep having a connection. It's exactly the same problem I had with my last one.
Wow.
And I don't know what's because you're using the same mic, and you haven't had that problem.
No.
Okay, so let me go back to the title screen, and I will pull this out and put it back in. But that's what caused all the issues earlier was when I unplugged it. So, pardon me, guys. Give me just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, is that any better?
I can still hear, but I don't know if the viewers can't hear it. I'm fine with it. Let us know if you can hear like a clicking sound. If not, it might just be something on my end. I don't know.
because it's weird. I'm not getting the clicking either, and I'm plugged into my mic, so I should hear that if it's happening. No, but
Okay.
now I'm bouncing in and out again. If I need to, like I said, I can switch mics out, but it would just take me a minute to do that.
Okay, yeah. If no one says anything, then don't worry about it. It might be just something on my end.
Okay, let's wait and see what people are mentioning. Okay, go ahead and throw something out. We'll start talking.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Austin Harn.
Hi.
Austin Harn. This is why $5. This is why I think there shouldn't be just one continuity. If you get annoyed with the direction of one, you're not stuck with it.
Yeah, that's a terrific point. And it is nice that they're doing these Elseworlds things. Here's the thing. The precedent for the Batman is a really good one because I don't know if John Kelling is joking when he says he hears a ringing or what. But yeah, let us know if you're hearing the click thing that he's talking about. Anyway, sorry we keep getting stuck on that thing, and I'm still having my... Okay, let me try to answer this real quick, and then I'm going to switch mics out. So, the good thing is the Batman was really successful, and it was planned as potentially a continuity if it did well. And it has, so that's going to happen, which means that could happen for anything else. And, like, the Joker's getting sequels. That could spin somebody off if that ended up making sense. So we are going to get multiple continuities, and that's really good. It's just... inside of the shared universe that they're doing, they're also going to have all these different movies that are of various tones. And my worry, DJ, is that we're going to look at some of these and go, I mean, this is okay, but I don't know if I really want this influencing some of these other things that I'm invested in. Why couldn't it just be its own thing? So, like, again, why can't the Authority just be its own thing? Why does that have to be roped in with the rest of this continuity? Maybe we'll ultimately appreciate it when that happens.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it seems he's really pushing everything counts.
Yeah. Except he's also saying Elseworlds.
That's true. It's that now that he has like a category for it, it's going to be really easy for fans to be like, wow, this should, like, after you watch something, it's just to be like, wow, this should have been Elseworlds.
Should have been Elseworlds.
Like,
yeah.
Now
but
that there's such a distinct line there.
And it's also going to be the thing that's going to look most self-indulgent, where it's going to go, okay, this matters in the grander scheme because you like it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a very Gunn, at least phase 1 or whatever he's calling it, chapter 1. It's very Gunn heavy.
Great and Powerful Dodd makes a good point, and this is a thing that I have been excited about since Gunn took over. The more we were hearing about things, he says, I like that not everybody's going to have an origin and that we're going to have to set up all the other movies. That is a good point, because all these things that we're hearing about are so disparate in concept that it probably, I would imagine it won't be so much like MCU where you get to the end of the movie and it feels like too much of the point of the movie was just getting to this other thing.
Oh yeah, that's what I hope. Just tell stories, and it feels like they're in the same universe. It feels like they're in the same world, but it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want Stan Lee's early Marvel stuff.
Yeah, precisely. And honestly, DC used to be that way too, DJ, and in some ways even more so because they had all these different universes that didn't cross very much. So, like, and I mean, I guess that's the big difference, is that Marvel was one continuity so they can cross when they wanted to, but DC did it too, they just did it with different continuities. So it was like, we've, Earth 1, 2, et cetera, and anytime we wanted to find an excuse to have those characters meet, you just come up with technology or magic or something, and you can do it if you really want to. That's just as viable a way to do that, I think, especially with characters that are traditionally more godlike or mythic. And it's not about being grounded. And one thing I will say about the slate, it doesn't sound very grounded. That's good. It is taking some risks. I mean, that's part of the problem with it for me, is just risks I don't care about. I don't want to see taken. But, like, is anybody going to care about Booster Gold?
Yeah, it's like, what did the studio promise him? Like, he must have made them promise that he gets to get through his whole phase 1 before they start mucking with things.
Yeah, before they tell him anything.
Because why would he announce all these crazy things unless he had their word, whatever that means?
Yeah.
Exactly. But that he can at least let this whole phase play
That's
out.
how Paradise Lost gets made. Guarantee you with that. Okay. Everybody, my apologies for doing another quick break, but I'm going to switch mics out because I'm having issues
You sound
with this
great,
thing.
by the way. I haven't heard it.
Oh, do I?
Think it might have been on my end. No one else has said anything. I think it's totally fine.
I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth. I'll keep it for now. It's cut in and out on me once or twice.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I'm worried about it.
I don't know if it was my mic or something. I was just hearing like a clicking, but I just unplugged mine and plugged it back in, and it's fine. So.
Okay, that must have been on your. So clearly the problem is, and I feel like I've been accidentally shilling for them for years, but we have to get away from this company. Apparently, is the thing.
Yeti mics is sabotaging.
Look, Yeti, you guys were really good for me for over a decade, but sometimes it's just time to move on.
It's time to move on. All right, dim-witted. Oh, excuse me. Let's go back to Carl Maxey. $5.
Let me address this real quick. I'm sorry. Batman Kicks Ass says, who would want Booster Gold? I mean, who wanted Guardians? Okay, the difference is more people that are into superhero stuff know who Booster Gold is now than knew what Guardians of the Galaxy was when Guardians was originally put out. And what I'm what I'm saying is, like, yeah, Guardians was a weird out of left field pick, but I could immediately see what the appeal of it was. Booster Gold has a small fan base. Like, some people really like that character. I'm just saying, I don't know if the audience will be there for that movie. It might be. I predict that's going to be an Ant-Man kind of situation.
I can see that, very similar. Carl Maxey. X-Men proved you can soft reboot with the same actors, so there's proof of concept. Also, get a new actor for Lobo. It's weird to keep the same actor. Well, that's just rumor.
Yeah, it was sounding more like it was probably going to happen, though, but now I'm questioning it more. Read that first part again, because I want to address that.
Sure. He said X-Men proved... Well, and I think this is him expounding on him. Earlier, his comment was he does not want Viola Davis and John Cena to be the same.
Yeah.
So he said, X-Men proved you can soft reboot with the same actors, so there's a proof of concept.
Right.
So it seems like I don't know what he means by that, because earlier he didn't want the same actors, but I guess maybe he wants Cavill, and that's why he's mad about Viola Davis and Cena.
Yeah, no, probably so. Yeah, it's complicated, right? Because what Days of Future Past was doing was rebooting with using the original actors to get us into a new status quo with a whole new slew of new actors, or at least they ended up casting new people right after that. So, I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, right? Like, we can, like, that was soft rebooting so that they could pave over a mess of continuity that wasn't making a lot of sense and go forward with period pieces if they wanted to. But it's not exactly the same thing, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like they weren't doing that because nobody cared anymore and the material wasn't working. I mean, they could have. Like, First Class was essentially a soft reboot before Days of Future Past was. First Class did decently well. People really liked it. As much as I like Days of Future Past, and I know that DJ is not a fan of that movie, that movie was not necessary to keep people interested in that property. It was kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? It was a fan service movie, in my opinion, about as well as that's ever been done in bringing back stuff that people had nostalgia for that they were afraid that they would never get to see again. And
it was No Way Home before No Way Home.
Yeah, but handled in my mind about 10 times better than that.
I can agree with that. Even though I don't like Days of Future Past, I can absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, your main issue with that movie is still my main issue with it. It just bothers you more than it does me, which is if you're going to do that, it should have been the third movie, not the second.
Yeah, it should have been the third, or it should have been like after you got a trilogy with those characters, then you combine the two trilogies. It just happened too early. Just rushed it out.
But if what he means is you're hanging on to the same actors as in McAvoy and what's his name, Magneto, then I get what you're saying there. But you had already soft rebooted.
Yeah, they were already in the other movie.
It's a little bit different. Like in the first place, see, here's what's interesting. You're talking about a franchise that, like I said, had already soft rebooted for the same reasons that, or sort of full-on rebooted, but was taking a lot of its cues from the original franchise, and it was very up in the air about how much of what you'd seen before counted in that continuity. After First Class, couldn't it easily have gone either direction? It either is the same world or it totally isn't. Remember, before that came out, the talk was, this is a full-on reboot, don't even think about the other movies. And then a lot of us are thinking, okay, then why are you doing Mystique the way you're doing Mystique? Like, it's a little confusing. If you could start over completely, why didn't you just go with straight up the original X-Men? So they rebooted, sort of, for the same reason that this is going to have to. The X-Men franchise was in shambles and confusing, and it didn't make any sense. And then when that movie did well, they then kind of soft rebooted back the other way and didn't have to. It's a very different situation.
Yeah. Next super chat from Dimwit Monkey, $5. Since Gunn seems to be following Morrison, do you think Gunn will also go mad with LSD insanity? I mean, he did work for Troma back in the day.
I mean, the short answer is yes. I can't remember. Was Brave and the Bold supposed to be a movie or a TV show? I think that's a movie, right?
I think so, yes.
Maybe not as likely on the big screen. There is a question of ratings with this stuff. The Batman so far has been PG-13. Is it possible that Brave and the Bold, despite that title, despite the fact that you would think conventional wisdom would be, let's do something somewhat lighter, going against the broodier, the broodier solo Batman continuity. Yeah, but some of this is already pretty counterintuitive, DJ. I think that there is absolutely every possibility that because you're doing, Kid Assassin and you're dealing with League of Assassins and all of that, the Batman will weirdly be the more kid-friendly version. Wouldn't that be bizarre? And so if that were the case, then
it would be like completely flipped. The Batman looks like the darkest Batman we've ever had, but it's technically tonally lighter than the tonally looking lighter version. He's probably going to wear like blue and gray, or at least be a little more comic booky.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be dark.
I think the likelihood is that movie will be like the Suicide Squad, more in tone. Maybe it will take itself somewhat more seriously than that material does, but it will feel light and fun and crazy, but underlying that will be a lot of really adult subject matter and some vulgarity and stuff. So yes, if he makes it like that, like I'm predicting, and I say whoever makes that movie, if that gets made the way I'm thinking, then LSD is entirely possible to answer your question of like how Morrison-esque and how much going back to Golden Age, but as like an acid trip do we go. And I mean, that stuff's really fun. Like I wouldn't mind seeing that in live action. It also makes me wonder if he's wanting to adapt a lot of Morrison's run, because Morrison begins with Damien Wayne. And then you get into the Batman and Robin stuff. Like this is obviously going to condense some of that and just give us Batman and Robin right away. So what that makes me wonder is if we're headed for a trilogy or more of films that are adapting Morrison, potentially going all the way to... and that's weird because, the Batman and Robin stuff was Dick Grayson and Batman, so we can't be fully adapting that because we don't have Dick Grayson in the Batsuit. Wait, unless we do. Unless that's what we're doing. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think about that. Maybe that's what we're doing. Maybe the idea is the Batman continuity is Bruce Wayne, and we're getting around confusion for regular everyday moviegoers by having a totally different man. It's Dick Grayson in the Batsuit. He didn't say, he just said Batman. Well, he did say Batman's son, though, which kind of suggests that it's Bruce Wayne palling around with him.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. But the point I was getting to, my apology, I didn't think about that till just now, was we could get to Batman Incorporated. We could get to Return of Bruce Wayne. We could be doing all that crazy stuff.
Wow.
AMC, I don't think anything essential to the main DCU is going to be anything more than PG-13. I don't agree with that because the Amanda Waller thing, I'll be shocked if it's not R, given how connected that will be to the Suicide Squad.
Well, Waller's an HBO show.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me, I'm having a hard time remembering what mediums some of this stuff is in. Because I had originally heard that was a thing we knew about already. We didn't have a name for it, but
maybe not. It might be a movie. I might be wrong.
I thought that was a movie.
It's a spinoff of HBO's Peacemaker. It's being written by the writer of the Watchmen show and the creator of the Doom Patrol series.
That suggests it's a TV show.
Yeah, it's very TV influenced.
Okay, all right, but because the Suicide Squad was allowed to be rated R, I think you're going to see the things at PG-13 and R. Do you agree with that, DJ?
Well, yeah, especially Gunn. Like, I feel like he's like happy that he can finally make R stuff again. That's his playground.
Prediction time. Will any of these or question, I guess I should say. I'll give you a question, DJ, and everybody else. Will any of these proposed projects besides Superman also be directed by Gunn, and he just hasn't put his name on it yet, or hasn't decided who's directing things? Like, is he going to make any more of these things?
I think he would like to try.
And if he did, what would be the obvious pick? Brave and the Bold.
Booster Gold.
I'm going to say Brave and the Bold, actually. That seems like
it's his favorite thing.
A real kind of passion vanity pick. You know, and again, I don't mean to be contradictory. I like that he's basing things on some specific runs like that. I just wish if it had to be that, we could forget about Damien Wayne, but still adapt some of Morrison. I don't know. That's blasphemy to people. I don't care. I just don't like Damien Wayne. And I have liked him in things, more than I thought I would, but I don't want him. My main issue is just we're not doing Tim Drake first. That kind of ticks me off, but if not Dick Grayson. But I'm fine with the Batman that's been doing this for a while, and there's a Nightwing out there. It's just
so weird because we finally got like the definitive comic Batman, and then we're gonna immediately jump to such recent stuff, and that's a different continuity.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Batman sequel has a Robin in it, but I wouldn't think it would.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to say with Matt Reeves. He did a lot of stuff right off the page, and a lot of stuff very realistic. Like some stuff more realistic than Nolan. It was very strange.
I know
the mixture of tone.
It was hard to get your mind around it.
I know. I can't predict anything. It could be Clayface, or it could be he's too serious for a Robin. I don't know.
He's talking about Clayface, yeah. Well, and then there's the question of what stuff does the Gunn continuity want to do versus what Reeves might do, and do they want to overlap anything? Like, I don't mean the continuity's mixing. I mean, will they do versions of characters that Matt Reeves also does, and will they just not care about that?
Captain Logan, you and I are going to be doing these Zaslav slows till the end of time.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to flip your box upside down right now, but I'm not going to do it.
All right, Austin. Let me see. Oh, excuse me. Wow, we've got a lot of super chats. I got to go back.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we have a lot of people named Austin. Would you read another super chat and then go to pre-written real quick if we have any good ones? Just because I don't want to totally shaft that with all these super chats.
Sure thing. Checkers the Inventor.
Hi, Checkers. What's up, man?
Cap.
I can't believe he's here after the monstrosity that was the Lyle stream. Go right ahead.
Well, this is a very self-indulgent one too. So
Oh, that's
we're going to
fine.
read
Oh,
this
no,
one.
is it about Lyle?
No. It's just a diss to me. Apparently, he says,
Oh.
"Cap, why did you tease the return of the Vinceverse only to recast him with DJ yet again? Disliked." Still like. And then he says,
Unsubscribe.
he said, "Still like DJ though." So he still likes me. I'm just no Vince, which I'll be the first to tell you that. I mean, I'm not even a co-host. I'm a moderator. It's uncomparable.
You're, you've been bordering on co-host for a long time now. The only thing that makes you not a co-host is we had this arrangement 3 years ago that we've kept around, and I am so long-winded that nobody seems like a co-host. Well, just for the record, DJ can take it. Like, it sounds like he was afraid that you wouldn't sleep at night, so he had to like put a code in and be like, "By the way, I'm joking." He can take it. He's gonna be all right.
Feel free to send all your insults straight to Geek Solution.
No, I certainly miss Vince as much as everybody else does, but it was really cool of him to do that show, and he'll be back. Don't worry. And I don't know, this thing DJ and I do is we've got our own report too. I would hate to miss to not have that too. If Vince decided, and this isn't going to happen, nobody get excited. If Vince decided next week, like, I want to come back on a weekly basis, I'd have to find a place to put him, because I don't want to lose what this show is either.
5 streams already. You have to add a 6th live show to the week.
Oh, that's like, that to me right now is like saying Mufasa. No, I mean, I've been doing some extra live shows in the afternoon occasionally too, but those aren't scheduled. I don't have to do them. Anyway,
all right, I'll jump back to a pre-written.
Thank
from
you.
Daniverse.
Hi.
Daniverse is always there in the chat and puts in some good questions. And
what
this is
guy.
This is a general thing that we should probably talk about. Biggest surprises from this announcement. He says, "I'm actually shocked they're supposedly doing something with Booster Gold."
I was surprised in the worst way possible.
Like
I play
someone
this
punched
up
you
a
in the
little
gut.
bit. I've never liked Booster Gold. I don't hate him as much as I pretend like I do. My eyes glaze over when he shows up. He's like the, what are they called? I can't even think of it. Oh, a Legion. They're like the Legion of superheroes. Just my eyes glaze. I guess anything in the DC universe from the future that's not Batman Beyond, my eyes glaze over. I don't want to deal with. The thing I was most surprised about is probably a tie, actually, between the Authority and Paradise Lost. That is not what I thought they'd do right away with Wonder Woman. And it really screams like, okay, we need the Trinity in there somehow, but we've got to subvert expectations and make it, real different from the last thing you saw. So, I don't know. We won't even have Wonder Woman in the title. We won't even tell you for sure if she's there. We'll just say Amazon's murdering people with spears. The show. That one is a show, right? Didn't they say that one's a series?
I know he compared it to Game of Thrones, but I thought it was a movie.
No, I thought he said that was a show. See, we can't even remember what the mediums are.
See what you've done, James Gunn, by combining everything?
No, I think if I'm right, that and Lanterns...
No, you're right. HBO Max series.
That and Lanterns will probably be kind of companion pieces.
Oh, that's better if it's a show. See, that's a little better.
No, I know, I agree.
Big budget Wonder Woman movie, that's just that would have been a little strange.
Yeah,
but,
no, that makes more sense as a TV show. I can't get excited about it.
I mean, I don't care, but it makes more sense as a TV show.
Yeah. He pitched it right. Didn't you get the sense that some of the phraseology he used was probably how he pitched it to the studio?
Well, everyone has pitched every period show as our Game of Thrones
something
for
Game
the
of
last
Thrones.
10 years.
What do you think the top 3, like, recently super popular properties that are like actually original things get pitched at studio meetings
Everywhere.
like that, like this and this? So it's Game of Thrones, it's John Wick, right? This is gonna be John Wick, but on a train, right? And then probably Walking Dead. Is that the third one?
Well, luckily we're out of the zombie phase a little bit, but I'm sure, yeah.
No, we're not. You know how popular Last of Us is? It's huge.
Yeah, but that's one thing. I'm saying, like, everything was zombies for a while.
And it's wonderful, by the way. I really liked it. The third episode. Why didn't I wait to do my review until the next day? I didn't even realize that was dropping the next day. The next episode came out, and it's phenomenal.
We'll just do them in couplets. Just pop a video out every time you watch 2 of them.
I guess I could do that. I was just going to do what I usually do if I actually do it and wait until the end of the season and talk about the whole season. But no, that's not a bad idea. I could do that.
Yeah.
I'm not promising that, but I could do that. I could do that.
All right. Where are we going next?
Great and Powerful Dot. I do think Lanterns is a dumb title. That's because it is.
Agreed.
Agreed. At least let it be the Lantern Corps. Yeah, I mean...
I see what they were doing. They didn't want green in the title because they've also got other color lanterns, but come up with something better than just lanterns.
Oh, you know what, though? That immediately makes me more excited. Because I didn't think of that. If the idea is we were already planning on having the Spectrum from the beginning, that actually kind of gets me excited. But I still don't like the name of it. But that did not occur to me that was the point. Was that they're going to, very quickly, we got an Indigo Lantern. Ooh. And there's an Orange Lantern. Ooh. And the villain will turn out to be Red Lanterns. Because you know it will. It's wishful thinking, probably, but that's what
Lanterns. I want. It just doesn't sound like a superhero thing at all. It's just like...
You know what'd be cool?
It sounds like a reality show. What?
Yeah, it sounds like a really boring reality, competitive reality series of people making really intricate paper lanterns.
Sounds like that episode of Power Rangers where Adam's just running around with a lantern.
Remember that? Oh my god. It would be cool if you had a series that the name slightly changed every season, and the first season was Green Lanterns. And then they kept changing the colors to focus on a different part of the spectrum, or where the story focuses on a different part of the spectrum. So maybe it's the same main characters, or 1 or 2 of them stick around. But then, the next season, we're dealing with Greed. Now we got Orange Lanterns, and the next season we're dealing with Rage, and we got Red Lanterns. Whatever it is, that'd be pretty cool.
That would have been so cool. Kind of like in Avatar, the seasons are not called season 1, season 2. They're called book 1 water, book 2 earth, book 3 fire. Because you're in a different part of the world dealing with different avatars or different whatever they're called, movers or whatever they're called. So that would be cool if we had a Green Lanterns, and then in the first season you find out that there's other lanterns, like a yellow lantern or something. Well, obviously. Never mind. But yeah, and then the second season could be called that color. That'd be cool.
Now, I will say this. If right now they're calling it Lanterns because they don't want to reveal that, and then it turns out that the broad title for the series is Lanterns, and then each season will focus on a different color, and the seasons proper, they'll advertise it all. Okay, the first season is Green Lanterns, then I will rescind my complaint about that title. That's a great title if that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's the only way it's awesome, but then it's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. Let's go to T-Edge1.
Hi, Tom.
$5. Out of all the announcements, what are your most and... I didn't see that he asked this, but he said most and least excited about. You're the best on YouTube.
Thanks, man. Well, again, I'm a broken record, but I just personally don't like Booster Gold all that much, and I'm kind of sad about the Damien Wayne thing. But least excited... Probably the Authority, because I don't know anything about that, and I think it's weird that that's roped in. There's potential for all the rest. There's potential that's good too, but I don't care right away. Yeah. And then most excited about is still Superman, but we already knew about that. So I'll say with the caveat of I've not read the book, but maybe Supergirl. I want to be excited about that.
Yeah.
You know what's weird though? The fact that we had a Batgirl movie and it got canceled. It got finished, and it's never coming out. And then James Gunn takes over, and he goes, "Here comes Supergirl. Screw you, Batgirl." I thought it would have been such a...
There's a Supergirl in Flash.
I know. That's going to be weird. Well, that's being soft rebooted, so maybe she turned into a different Supergirl, or maybe they're doing a different version or something. There's different characters that have had that mantle, but I'm pretty sure the one from Tom King's book is probably still Kara Zor-El, so I don't know. Maybe it's not, because I haven't read that, but it probably is. But, boy, I thought it would have been such a crazy power move if he had, I've said this before, but if he came in and Batgirl gets canceled, and then in their first slate, one of the first movies that is announced is Batgirl. We're just going to make it good this time, you guys. That would have been so mean to that whole crew. There's a movie sitting on a shelf right now, but we're going to make the right one.
Yeah, this one won't be so bad that immediately after test screenings we throw it away and never show it to anyone.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. Busted Sim says apparently that Batgirl movie was really low-budget 90s TV movie vibe. I mean, that's what all the leaked shots from it looked like, but I mean, things can look different in the context of it, because that all looked kind of unfinished to me, but maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
Maybe that's exactly what it looked like, because people were like really freaking out about that Firefly costume. But how many times have you seen like set photos of things and then you go see the movie and you're like, oh, that looks a lot better than I thought it did?
Absolutely.
Now, I don't think that was
Batman.
a set photo, but I don't know if it was finished. You know what I mean? Like the lighting might not have been done, whatever. But people are like, oh, that looks like cosplay, and I'm like, well, a lot of things look like cosplay. Sometimes cosplayers do a really good job, but I'm not saying that looked great.
Yeah, I mean,
We just didn't see it in the context of the film.
we all saw those photos of the Batman's stunt double on the bike, and we were all like, "What is this?" But it turned out great.
Then it was great. But then people saw the shots of what was supposedly Michael Keaton's stunt double from Batgirl and went, I don't know about this. And I was the outlier going, this looks pretty cool. And then now we're never going to see the movies. So it does bug me that there's Michael Keaton Batman footage I'll never see, even if it's stupid.
Yeah,
I just feel weird about it.
You gotta hold on to hope that there's some disgruntled employee that has a copy of footage somewhere that he's going to release and probably go to jail. But you'll get to see it.
I never thought the Star Wars Holiday Special was possible again. In the age of the internet, where everything gets uploaded no matter what it is, it's possible that this only moves on the dark web and on physical media at physical actual conventions.
That would be crazy. That'd be
Wouldn't
so
it?
cool.
It'd be nuts.
Goofster123.
Yeah, what's up, man?
I have to wonder what all this means for the DCAU. I mean, could we do animated films with our live-action Superman/Batman that are canon? What stories would you like to see made like that? We came out and said at the beginning that was going to happen.
Yeah, he sure did. He's like, they're going to be voiced by the same people. So I've always said this. I'm sticking to my guns on this. I do that on purpose every time. Until I'm given reason not to, and I realize there's lots of precedent with Star Wars. It's a thing I don't care for with Star Wars, but I get why fans of bigger fans than me like that stuff. I don't like extremely different kinds of media all being in the same continuity. It's difficult to be consistent with it, especially because of tonal shifts, where very often, because we go to animation, we take more risks. We will be willing to do some sillier things. Sometimes we will make things that are a lot sappier and more kid-friendly and don't really feel like they fit in the same world. I'm not necessarily expecting that with this, but just my personal taste is I don't want my animation and live-action things to be in the same world. I don't care for that.
Yeah, it's not even that I don't want them mixed, but I don't want animation hamstrung by it. I want to push animation. Do Spider-Verse, man. Like,
yeah,
animation has no limits. And if you're trying to make it cohesive with live action, you might put limits on it. And that's what I don't like.
That's a good point. I mean, that's certainly happening with the animated stuff. I would argue with, like What If with MCU, where they're trying to make it feel like it fits, so there's not really a cool style there. Mm-hmm. It looks like almost fake rotoscoped or something.
And we're in such a good place with animation right now. Like there's a clear line you can trace from Spider-Verse to The Mitchells versus the Machine the next year, also put out by Sony Pictures, to Puss in Boots this year, which was surprisingly good. I was shocked by how good Puss in Boots is, and that's DreamWorks. Animation is looking awesome right now. And I want to keep pushing that boundary. I don't want to just make things that look like they could be live action. What's the point of doing animation? Because it's cheaper? I don't want that. I don't want that to ever be the reason.
That's a good point, too. I hope some of the Elseworlds projects are animated things. I mean, that's the thing to throw out there. And I hope that we don't only adapt Elseworlds stories in the direct-to-video line if that continues.
Yeah.
I hope some of that can get a little bit more money behind it and be put on HBO Max. It's got to make you wonder what the future is of that. Like, is that still around? Are we still going to be doing that stuff? because that's a whole house. I mean, like they have a whole department for that. They're still cranking out 2-3 movies a year.
I mean, there's only two options: either he puts out movies in that line that are in continuity, or he makes all those Elseworlds branded.
Well, the third thing is it's still its own continuity, and they leave it alone because it is a continuity. I mean, like, some of them are and some of them aren't, but like the DC Direct things, like they soft rebooted that continuity, and since Man of Tomorrow, it is a continuity.
Yeah. Just seems like he wants such a cohesive brand that I don't know if he would want a third continuity out there.
Yeah. If they do that, they'll call it something, finally, probably. Because those never had a name. I've always just had to call them the direct-to-DVD movies, and then that's weird because there's different continuities of them now, and some of them that aren't at all. I don't think I actually answered the question.
Well, he also said, what stories would you like to see made like that if they did do animated canon stories?
Yeah, so like when you say DCAU, like they're not going to have their own DCAU. It's going to be part of this whole thing. The DCU, they're calling it. So yeah, right off, I don't know, because the answer would be the same for both, I guess. I mean, there's probably some things that would make more sense to do in animation, but then because they're like some of the bigger, more cosmic stories would obviously be easier to translate in that medium, where you don't have to worry about how much it costs to put stuff on screen in live action, and you don't have to rely on so heavily on CG with live action characters mixed in. But DJ, the stories that I would think would make the most sense to do that way are too big to do in animation. You know what I mean? Like, they'd be too popular and make too much money in the movie theater. So they're not going to make Crisis animated. When they get to Crisis, they'll just do Crisis, like in live action. But that's the kind of thing I would think would look a lot better in animation. You know what I mean? So it'd be stories like that. Like Kingdom Come, real stylized story. I'd rather see that in animation. But then like you suggested, if it's all in the same... See, this is why the animation thing bugs me. If it's all in the same continuity, when you go to massively different animation styles, and it looks like that's what they're doing just with that that Creatures project that they threw out, that looks more like Invincible than it does anything, just with that little still we got, you're gonna have all these really dramatically different, disparate animation styles that are all supposed to fit in the same universe. And somehow, when you do that in live action, it doesn't take me out and doesn't make it as difficult for me to see it all together. But when you have, like, real different character models that are all supposed to be in the same continuity, it's harder for me to buy it. Like, at least a human face still looks like a human face. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my problem with, okay, let's just straight up try to do Alex Ross in animation and do Kingdom Come. Yeah, okay, but you got this Creatures thing that looks like Invincible. But those are the same universe. Like, and I guess we do that with comics, and maybe that's James Gunn trying to go even farther than the MCU has with bringing comic book storytelling and more visually to the big screen, where everything can count even if it doesn't remotely look like it's in the same universe. Somehow in moving pictures, it is harder for me to get my mind around them.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're so used to it in comics by this point. It's a very new thing in moving pictures.
So maybe I should be more open to it. Maybe I should try to be enlightened here and see how it goes, and if I can come to adjust to it. Because, again, it is a risk, and it is something that we haven't tried before in again, trying to translate comic storytelling that purely to screen. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to any of this. I'm hoping that I like. This has kind of been not disappointing, but I felt so like meh about all this, and I still feel the same after the announcements. Like, nothing got me super excited or got me super angry. I'm still just right where I was. I was hoping to be somewhere else after the announcement.
And I was stoked. I couldn't wait for the stream. It was difficult not to go look at it all day. And then I got to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed, but I think some of this stuff is liable to win me over.
Yeah, I hope so.
In the grand scheme, I appreciate what Gunn said at the end about storytelling being king, and that seemed like code for sorry folks that wish we would pander to a particular political agenda. That's not what we're doing. We're just telling stories. Deal with it. Like we're not too worried about making sure that we're throwing out the correct morality or whatever. We're just telling cool stories on screen. And I appreciate that. Like, I think he's the right guy as far as getting real, honest to God narratives out there and saying something with them, like in a like whatever it is that we want to say that's not just propaganda. That's great. But I don't know if I'm going to care about any of the stories he's telling. Is the problem?
Yeah,
they're all going to be really good, and I might not care about more than a quarter of them.
That's the thing.
And that was my fear in the first place, and that's very much where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's where I've been the whole time. It's like people are really mad about Gunn or excited about Gunn. I'm just like, yeah, he knows what he's doing, I guess, but his sensibilities are so opposite to mine. Like,
yeah, same here. Except for Guardians, I love that stuff. But
I liked Guardians 1. I really didn't like 2. I watched like the first. I got like 15 seconds into the third Guardians trailer and I turned it off because I was like, it's so not my thing. Like, oh, we're throwing balls at people's faces. It's just so stupid. It's just I can't get excited just because his sensibilities are so, like I said, opposite of mine. But I mean, that's what I'm hoping is he can just win me over on stories that look interesting and hopefully, obviously, he can do different things. I've never seen him doing different things, but hopefully he can. Let's see, where are we? We did Goofster. We're on What Is a Super Chat?
Would you do me a favor real quick? Would you tell me how many Super Chats we have? Oh, no. That's a lot of counting. Counting is wonderful. That's a lot of counting. Okay. We only have 8 minutes if we stop right at an hour, and that's less than a minute for each of these. So rapid fire.
Lightning round. Here we go.
All right, go ahead.
What is a Super Chat? $2. What is the purpose of a cape?
Oh, dramatic effect. Because it's completely impractical. Dramatic effect unless you've laced it with material that makes it fireproof, like Batman does. Like Batman is the only superhero, for the most part, that constantly makes a really good case for wearing a cape. Because Batman will, he'll drape people over it in the middle of a fire. Remember Batman Forever? He does that. And there's a lot of other places he can turn it into wings and glide with it. Most superheroes, it's just a fashion accessory. And it seems like there are whole periods in comics, particularly real early on, where it's just a fad. Even superheroes have their fads. There must be a gap for superheroes.
Old Navy capes, but yeah, it makes sense for characters like Thor, because people used to just wear capes. Like, that's just a thing,
right? Classic mythical characters
royalty used to wear. But yeah, it's not very practical for any other superhero. It just looks cool when you're flying. And it does. It looks dumb when you're flying and you don't have a cape. You're just like, but there's no movement. It's like dynamic when the cape is flapping,
Yeah, it's fine when you're Superman because it can't really. It's not going to adversely affect you in the ways the montage in Incredibles talks about, because you're immune to so much. But we very often have to come up with some kind of silly excuse for why it doesn't get shredded every time Superman goes anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard any of that. I was cutting out again.
No, yeah, I heard all of it.
Oh, okay, good.
All right, thank you. What is the Super Chat? Next up, Mutale. Shazam 2 trailer thoughts?
Oh, man. Shazam 2. Is there a new one that came out? I talked about one of them at one point. If there's a new one, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a new one.
And my apologies. I hate to not answer a super chat, but I talked about the one that came out a while ago, and I don't remember much about it. It didn't leave a huge impression on me. Like, it looks fine.
It's weird. Yeah, it looks exactly like the first one, which is what I kind of liked about it.
Except
it was
ensemble
refreshing.
now.
It was refreshing that it was goofy and silly and didn't take itself too seriously. But now, for some reason, whatever place I'm in right now in my life, I was like, oh yeah, that looks fun. But I didn't get excited about it.
Yeah, I don't. The thing is, I like that movie fine. I didn't need any more of it.
Yeah, I've never gone back to it.
I haven't either.
I saw it once, and I was like, oh, it was fun.
And John Glover died in a car crash. It's not like we're going to get any more of that. Didn't he? Or did he survive that car crash? I can't remember.
Well, we haven't gone back to it.
John Glover himself is fine, okay? Like, he didn't die in a car crash. He's still alive.
He didn't run himself over in a snowplow incident like Jeremy Renner.
He's an old man, but I'm pretty sure he's in decent health.
Yeah.
Oh man, that Jeremy Renner thing is really sad, isn't it?
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
What a freak accident.
Yeah.
Apparently he's doing better, but geez.
Man, yeah. Well, wasn't there? I didn't read about it after the initial reports, but wasn't there some like a touch and go question about whether he was going to lose his leg?
Yeah, it was intense. He ran over his leg. Like,
yeah, but I assume they saved.
Snowplow.
I assume they saved the leg though, right?
I think so. I haven't heard anything to the contrary.
Yeah. So like, I wonder if he's walking already, or I'll have to look into that. I haven't followed up on it.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it on the show at all.
Yeah.
We're in Zaslav land.
Adam Marsh, I got very concerned for John Glover. No, John Glover did not die in a car crash. John Glover's character in Shazam died in a car, or was in a car crash at the beginning. I think he dies at the beginning of that movie. I can't remember, but he's nuts.
Cap almost gave me a freaking heart attack over John Glover, Robert Wildcat.
As soon as I said that, I went, oh, you know what? People are going to take me literally, and they're going to... I don't remember the character's name.
No one does.
John Glover was just on Rosenbaum's Smallville podcast a few weeks ago. He's fine. I haven't caught up on that. I haven't watched the last episode.
I haven't
of the first
either.
season
That's
yet,
awesome that he was on there.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Cool.
I did watch that one. I watched part of it. Anyway, I love John Glover. I didn't get to meet John Glover, but I went to a convention that he was on a panel on once, and I got to listen to him, and that was great. In Metropolis. I haven't been to Metropolis in a long time, but at the Superman celebration, he and the girl who played Tess Mercer on Smallville were there together. And I love the intimate panels they do there because
Tess Mercer, wow.
Because they'll it's always just two actors. And those panels are so much better because both of them get so much, time to speak, and they're not like constantly talking over each other, and it's usually two people that know each other pretty well and have worked together, and if not, that's sometimes fun too. I went to, I think the last one I went went specifically because Katie Lotz was there, because I was still real into Arrow at that time, and I was collecting that character Black Canary because I loved her, and she stopped being great later in Legends, but I don't hold it against Lotz, of course. The nice thing is her character died, and when she came back, she got kind of crappy, so I can just look at it as, well, the character I like died. Because what came back was clearly not the same character. But she was there with, I can't remember her name, Iris West actress, and she was super cool. And Jason asked her a question at the panel, and this came from Jason. I didn't tell him to say this, and he was like, because we were watching Flash and Arrow both religiously at the time, and Jason was like, why is your character so mean? She had this really thoughtful answer about it, too, where she was like, well, sometimes people aren't in, the best places in their life, which was kind of code for, yeah, I'm having to play kind of hateful a lot, and I don't like that. It was great. You can kind of read between the lines with him. But anyway, John Glover's awesome. That was the point I was making. Alex
Barron in the chat. Cap, stop announcing actors are dead.
I didn't. He's not dead. He died in a car crash in that movie. Okay, so
it wasn't an official announcement, guys. All DC announcements are coming from a white room with the guy just standing in front of it with one camera.
Okay, but I don't like the precedent or the implications of the idea that if an actor who's been in too many DC things dies, the only way it can be announced is through Warner Brothers. Like, that bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope.
Oh, Candace Patton, that's right. Hey, I always say rapid fire, and then I feel stupid forever bringing that phrase up. And we're getting more super chats, and so yeah. Let's continue real quickly. I don't know if I said last call earlier. I should have. We're already at 2 hours, so we're gonna cut off the super chats. But let's roll on here. Go ahead.
We just talked for way too long about trailer thoughts for a
and
trailer
capes too. I think we spent a little bit too long on capes.
Mutale.
Yeah.
Dave Bautista said he wants to play Lex Luthor. Thoughts?
I don't immediately see that either.
It's a scary Lex Luthor.
Yeah, it would be. He's versatile. I mean, I'm not
He's
saying
great,
it wouldn't work. I don't see it right away. But I'm okay with a gruffer Lex Luthor. That worked when we did it with Kingpin in the Daredevil movie. You know, I mean, like the more kind of street level Lex Luthor. I could see it.
Yeah.
That's obviously a different thing, but you see why I'm making that
still
comparison.
Always a presence, always a physical presence. It'd be interesting to have a Lex that can pick you up by your throat and squeeze the life out of you next to the elevator before he gets in.
Now, he definitely still has to be corporate tycoon Lex Luthor. No offense to Batista, I don't see him as a scientist. Don't tell me he's a scientist.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's that versatile. Maybe I could buy it. I don't see it right away.
He's got those forehead wrinkles. Very, very mad scientist-y.
Wouldn't it be great if the guy who played the biggest dunderhead in the MCU turned around and made you buy that he's a scientist?
Wow, the most versatile superhero actor of all time.
Time?
That's like surpassing Chris Evans at that point.
Buster Sim says it would be better than whatever the hell Eisenberg was doing. Look, don't throw that on Eisenberg. You take one look at that script and tell me how the hell you're supposed to act that.
Yeah, Eisenberg could have been a good Lex.
I think so too. I don't think that was his fault. I think it was the script. Look, what you do with baffling material like that is you find the closest thing to a take as possible. He was trying to figure out what movie he was in. Is it a cartoon? Is it a cartoon for adults? Look at every performance from a villain in Gotham, and that's what Eisenberg was doing because it's that kind of baffling nonsense.
Yeah, when you're an actor, you don't want to just read the lines. You want to figure out. You want to get to the core of the character and give it your best. And he was giving it his best. Good grief. You try to deliver some of those lines he had.
Yeah. Now maybe they wrote to him, but that's still not his fault. Because I've liked him in virtually everything else I've ever seen him in.
But he always plays the deadpan guy. He doesn't play the crazy guy. He was trying to fit the script. He doesn't play the goofy, crazy, off-the-wall characters.
That's not his fault. I don't think we can put that on Eisenberg. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to stop making fun of ding, 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 ding.
Okay, I want you to give me, how do you say ding, 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 ding in a believable way? There's no way to deliver that one.
How many takes did they do with that? Ding, 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 ding. And then it felt like the score was written after the take, right? Because how do you come up with something that over the top to live up to the insanity that is Eisenberg in that scene?
It's wonderful.
Bomb. Bomb! What am I talking about? I love that movie. That movie's great. Okay, moving right along.
All right, Austin Harn. All right, Cap. James Gunn asks you to produce a project of your choosing
Resurrection
in this
Man.
chapter. In this chapter, what would you pick? Doesn't have to be anything he slated.
Resurrection Man.
Yeah, that might. You could have saved your money on that one. You knew.
Green Arrow with Clock King as the villain.
Ooh.
That's in there. I can keep going. Black Canary.
You only have one. What's your number one pick?
Okay, Green Arrow with Clock King, but only because I actually think Gunn would be better at writing Resurrection Man than I would. So I want them to make that, but I want him to make it.
What would you call it?
Resurrection Man?
I thought you were doing Green Arrow.
What would I call mine? Sorry. I don't think that needs a subtitle. I don't know.
Bow and Talk. You can't say Arrow. You can't use Arrow because we've already used Arrow. You got to call it Bow.
Thinking there. Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't know. Green Arrow, Tempest Fugit. I don't know. Yeah. I don't have anything great. Anyway, moving right along.
We're still workshopping it. All right. Mutale. If Maguire and Garfield didn't reprise their roles, what alternate Marvel characters would you have liked them to play? E.g. Maguire as MCU Uncle Ben.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted that. That's a little cutesy for my taste, but if he was great, then I would walk out of the theater and go, okay, you got me. You know what I mean? That's a real kind of CW move.
I'd love to see Andrew Garfield play another role, but I don't want him to be something cutesy like that. I just want him to play someone he fits for.
I don't know. I used to be taken in more by that kind of stunt casting, but I've kind of been there and done that, and it very often ends up being a material that's either not good or turns real bad. So, like, I liked the... What's his name? I liked the idea of the original 90s Flash playing Grant Gustin's father in the Flash TV show. It's kind of stunt casting, but, like, nobody watched that show. You know, like, that's why that was cool to me, because, like, I felt like that was a cool, obscure in thing for those of us that grew up with that show. And Tobey Maguire, the whole universe knows who that is. You know what I mean? So that's what makes that a little bit different to me. And there were things in CW that went way too cutesy, that were, you know, too far even for me. But I digress. Who do I think Maguire would be good for? It's hard not to go, if he was still the age he was when he was Spider-Man, here's who he should play in MCU. Like, now I gotta pick a character for a middle-aged Tobey Maguire. And that's harder to me because I haven't seen him act at that age apart from playing his Peter Parker again. So I'm not immediately sure what he'd be. I don't know really a costume character. I think it's more likely to be something, like you said, like an Uncle Ben, something that's, you know, a plainclothes person. Maybe a cop in something. Like, I don't know right off. That's actually, by the way, and I'm not saying I want this necessarily, if they were to make I'm not answering the question now, and we need to finish up, I guess, but I just had this thought, DJ. If they were to make another Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, now he's middle-aged, I'd love to actually see them look at Marvel 2, the Spider-Girl stuff, and have him be a cop. I think that'd be cool. And have him, like, give up the costume and not be Spider-Man. And maybe even introduce Media Parker. Like, I think that's... Can you hear me? I'm cutting in and out again. I think that's the way to handle another Maguire movie. But yeah, I'm not sure. Does anybody jump to mind for you?
No, I no idea. It's not something I really think about, is like seeing old actors come back in reprising roles.
Or do new roles, yeah. John Ty, Toby as Captain Stacy. See, I'm avoiding Spider-Man. Like, the first place my brain goes is come up with something else for him to do in MCU that's not related to Spider-Man, because anything seems cutesy to me.
Yeah.
So I want to put him someplace else, you know. You know, something in, like, I don't know, in like a Captain America or a Daredevil or...
Yeah. Something with as little fanfare as possible.
Exactly. Just cast him because he's right for it.
And I don't know what he's right for these days. He was just in that Babylon movie.
Right.
So maybe we can watch that. All right. Next one?
Yeah. Have we knocked this down to even 6 or 7 or?
Yeah, we've got 7, 8.
Okay, moving right along.
John
Thanks,
Ty, $5.
We're gonna try to
Did you
get through
know
this.
that Tom King gets to be in the writing room for this era of DC live action films?
No, that worries me a little bit. King is real hit or miss, and the stuff I've read from him that's not good is dreadful. It's not just not great; it's really, really awful. And don't get me wrong, he's got some near masterpieces, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think I want Scott Snyder there any more than I would want Tom King, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. If he's there, I think Johns should be brought back. I'll say that. And that's after also not liking lots of things that he's written, but he's brought more okay or to good things to screen than not. I mean, you know, people are kind of polarized on Aquaman, but I don't know. But I mean, he didn't straight up write that movie. He was producing and was, you know, helping to head up the whole thing before that movie came out, and then he got fired because of things that got made just as he was coming on that he didn't have that much to do with.
That's such a bummer. Let me see. Mutale, if you could be invited to the premiere of any superhero film this year, which would you want to go to?
Ooh, that's a neat question.
That's a really cool question. And maybe we answer this part first. Isn't it weird that Miller may still stay, but Cavill won't?
See, again, holding out judgment. It's weird because I don't understand why they think they can work with that guy and why they want to invite the potential PR nightmare. That's why that's weird. I'm not going to go to a story place with it because I don't know what their Superman's going to look like. Like, I don't know what exactly they're doing. I don't know how they're rebooting. I don't know what even and again, this is all rumor territory. I don't know what even Miller could come back means, because that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to have a whole franchise, that Flash. That could just mean, because it's a soft reboot, they need him for continuity reasons to show up once or twice more. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to jump the gun on any of that.
Yeah. Again. And then the first part.
Yeah, I just can't stop doing it.
So what superhero movies are even coming out this year that we would want to go to?
So DC's got 4, as Gunn laid out. One of them is Blue Beetle, which we all keep forgetting about, but that is coming. And you've got Aquaman, you've got Shazam 2, and you've got, what's the other thing? Flash, of course.
You want to go to the premiere of Blue Beetle?
No, I out of those, I'd pick Flash just because of the potential of running into Keaton, I guess. Like, that's the only reason I'd go. If I got invited. And don't get me wrong, like, as much crap as I've given things that I'm hearing about that movie, we'll see what the movie looks like, obviously. But if I got invited to that premiere, I'd go. You know. And then Quantumania, not so much. Guardians 3, maybe. I'm certainly more excited about that than DJ is. And then, but probably just so that I could shake Gunn's hand and say, Booster Gold sucks.
I guess I'd by default have to pick Spider-Verse.
And I hate Damien Wayne. Yeah.
That'd be cool to go to. I guess. I don't know anything about that movie. I hope they're not meddling with it. I hope they're letting them do their thing. But who knows? And
then the other one, I guess, for Marvel is The Marvels. Couldn't get excited about going to that.
Yeah. It's a mediocre year, it seems. But,
yeah, with a bunch of superhero movies.
Yeah, it's weird. And none that I think are going to be like awful. It's just kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
Excitement
what it looks like.
I'm not saying anything about the quality, just excitement-wise.
Maybe
this list has Craven on it. Is Craven really coming out?
Oh, yeah, that is coming out this year. I forgot about
that. Then it's Craven, of course. Who wouldn't want to be
you're
at that
going to that! There is not the possibility of Michael Keaton showing up to that one.
I have to see the first audience reaction to that film.
Seriously.
All right, where are we going next? Chat. If you could, here we go. John Kelling, the Conqueror, $10.
Can you give me just 1 second, DJ?
Absolutely.
Real quick, and I'm sorry, we're running over time tonight, but it's been a big night, big crowd. Really appreciate all the support and interaction. I'm just gonna switch some settings real quick, so give me just a minute.
All right.
I just feel like I'm running the show tonight with like a couple of cans connected to string.
We should do that. At least get a prop of it.
Seriously. Anyway. Okay, moving right along. Let me know if there's an echo or anything, DJ.
No, you sound great.
All right, go ahead.
John Kelling, the Conqueror. Hey, guys. I like the idea of Brave and the Bold being an anthology series like the comics. Just team up a pair of heroes to co-lead a film instead of having it solely be a Batman series. Maybe?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I meant to say that when he brought up Brave and the Bold. That sounds like a TV show before it's anything, not just because it's been a TV show. But yeah, if they keep making Brave and the Bold movies and they've all got, like, I hope that's not just called Brave and the Bold. I hope it's got a subtitle like Batman and Robin, and then you can just keep doing that. That would be cool. But they're also, again, adapting some Morrison, which feels like the beginning of a huge franchise, and that's where you're introducing your Batman. So it's not likely that's what they're doing. But then why are they calling it that? Because it's a title they have laying around they haven't used yet, I guess. Can't call it Batman and Robin, that's a thing.
Very different thing.
You know? Can't call it Son of Batman. That's an animated movie. You still could, because it's not like anybody knows what that is, but...
Yeah. Mutale, thoughts on Gunn saying The Flash is one of the best superhero stories ever made. How does that make you feel towards it?
Did he say that? Did he go that far?
I don't remember.
He didn't say that in the video. He just said it's really good. But if he said that somewhere, that's amazing, because I'll be nothing short of flabbergasted if that's true. But it's also interesting that everybody at Warner seems really happy with it. Like, Zaslav's made a really big deal out of how good he thinks it is. But here's the thing. Is the actual storytelling quality of that movie really good, or is it just so novel and with Michael Keaton and maybe other connections it makes to other things, because I don't know if it's connecting to any other pre-existing superhero material or not, that they know people are going to see it? Is it that? But then Gunn doesn't seem typically that cynical. Like, I want to think if he says it's good, he really believes it. Like I said earlier, that seemed pretty diplomatic, but like, so saying there, like, it's really good, I can kind of see him tiptoeing a little bit, but then he didn't say that about any of the other movies that they're bringing out this year either. He's just like, they're important, go see them. But that one,
it leads
like,
right into his reboot.
Yeah, but Flash, he's like, it's really good. And then Zaslav's made a big deal out of how good it is, and keep in mind, he shut down a movie because he thought it was unreleasable. So I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. What if it's great, but I don't believe it? And even if so, even if the script somehow is really good, I still don't like that actor.
Yeah, apparently he did say it.
Mutale, Zaslav also said Black Adam was great. Okay, well then I don't trust anything.
Then yeah, we'll just disregard everything he says from now on. He's part of the machine now.
Yeah, but to some degree you have to be. I mean, I don't want to give him too much of a pass on that, but I get how hard that towing that line is and how hard that job's got to be. Oh, yeah. I'm just saying I can sympathize. It's easy for us in our armchairs to go, if I was in that job, I'd just say whatever I wanted to. Yeah, there's a lot on the line, though, like, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into if you sign up for that.
Yeah, I understand. I don't judge him for anything he says. It's just his job, but we also don't have to take stock in anything.
No, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
right. It's written by the writer of Cap's favorite film, Birds of Prey. You know what? Forget it. I'm not going to that. That's going to be the first huge superhero movie I just skip and don't even review. No, it's not, because I too am part of the machine, and if I don't review huge things that I know people will show up for, I don't get paid. So yes, I will be reviewing that movie, and I don't regret it on a moral level.
Robert Wild, $2. I'd love to see Gunn adapt Tom King, Mr. Miracle.
There's been some rumor about Mr. Miracle, too. But I don't know. And I've only read the first issue or two of that, so I don't, in the moment, have a dog in that. But interestingly, they did loosely adapt some of King with the WandaVision show. Because we reviewed his Vision comics, and they did take some stuff from that. Those are that's a wonderful series, by the way.
Yeah. John Kelly the Conqueror, $5. Lantern's Light or Sector 2814? Which title is better? I don't know if it's 2814, Sector 2814.
Yeah, I don't like either of those, but I guess, I don't know. Somebody said in the comments earlier that Guardian's Light sounded too much like a soap opera, and I think that's really funny. It kind of does, but I don't know. Just having the sector number thing, like, that also feels weirdly kind of CW to me. Like, I don't know. We've never had a good Green Lantern thing. Just call it Green Lantern or Green Lantern Corps. Like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel on this. Like,
yeah.
Out of the two, I guess the first one, but.
Lantern's Light. All right, Dimwit Monkey, $5.
Yeah.
DJ's background made me remember Watchmen is DC too.
It sure is.
I don't know how I'd feel about them being brought in. Not a question, but here is money for you.
Oh, thanks. No, I hope that never happens.
Well, we know how we'd feel about that.
We do. We feel very strongly about this. And this is coming from two people that were kind of open to adding to that mythology with the HBO show, and we liked it okay. It's polarizing, it's divisive. Some people hate it. We liked it. Dan enjoyed it. But
yeah.
So like
I'm not a purist where I don't want any more Watchmen. I just don't want it folded into an already super complex universe. Just that's what's great about it. It's its own thing.
It's its own thing.
One of the things that's great about it.
What it screams is this is popular, so we've got to make it way more corporate. You know? And we got to make it feel like it counts more because it's with our traditional superheroes. And there's plenty of ways to like darken up and deconstruct and deal with modern, cynical issues with DC superheroes. There's plenty of precedent for it without having to also bring in the like analogs that were taking those characters and turning them into that and having them mix. And also the series that did that, I've never with Doomsday Clock with Jeff Johns, I was never able to finish. I've tried it 5 times and I cannot get through that series. And if they did it, DJ, that's what they would be looking at almost certainly, and I don't want to see that adapted. And this conversation just makes me do my head like this. Yeah. And I don't want it.
And we don't need a Watchmen at all. We like the Watchmen movie, you and I. At least last time we watched it.
Yeah, it's been done.
I don't need Watchmen. We got a great show. I don't need any more Watchmen. Just do the actual DC characters. I want some good classic. We don't have that in the movies.
Yeah, could that movie be adapted a little better than Snyder did it? Yeah, it could. I don't need to see that. I mean, I really like that movie. If it was ever done in live action again, the only thing I would want to see is a miniseries, kind of like Last of Us or something, that can stretch it to more episodes and get to a little bit more of the meat of it, and not leave anything out, and let it be 7, 8, 9 hours.
That's how you'd have to do it. It's already 4 hours. I mean, you can't go any more in a movie.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would want to see done with it. And even then, I don't need that, but that's the only thing I would want to see done with it.
Yeah. Which brings us to our last one from MP 199. Introduce Nightwing and Oracle in Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, I hope so. And I think that's when he says the one ray of hope I had with that was when he said this is how we're introducing the Bat family, which suggests that there might be more major supporting characters that were around before Damien that show up in that. It would be really cool, especially since the Batgirl movie didn't happen, if we did just start straight with Oracle in the first place. And if they do that, there's a lot of ifs. If they do that, if she's cast right, if she's written well, I will forgive them Damien because at least I got Oracle. Unless he really sucks. Unless he's just the most obnoxious thing in the universe. How many more Super Chats are there?
That was the last one.
Go! Oh, wow, really? I wasn't prepared for the end of the show. Well, everybody, thanks a whole bunch for being here. I hope you had a good time with us. This was a wonderful turnout, and thank you guys for coming out for it. We're going to go ahead and get going now, but I'll be back again with DJ Thursday night for the grand, exciting 250th episode of the Captain Logan Show, and I've got a big announcement to make on that show. I was going to do it tonight, but I decided to save it for the 250, partly just because I don't have any other really cool, exciting plan yet for that show. So we'll try to come up with some kind of really neat lead-in topic. If there's more major news by then, which there might be, and I'm sure it'll be related more to this, so I have part 19 of the Zaslav wave.
But we won't watch it until we're live. We'll react to it live. That's the new standard.
Forevermore, that's what we do now, yeah. The show is better if Cap has no idea what he's going to say. That's what we've learned this evening.
He's been resisting reaction videos for the 8 years, for like a long time, since they've become popular, but he's finally given in.
What we found out is that's what I should have been doing all along. And anyway, no, I actually really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. And
it was great. I felt like I was commentating a sporting event with you.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I probably paused too much, but I really enjoyed it. And then what we'll do, DJ, is unless there's major news that night, we'll try to come up with some kind of really fun theme or topic or something. Maybe we'll do one of our specific kind of question shows, like a what if show or a would you rather show or something like that. And then I will do a big announcement that night for an event on the channel that is going to happen just this very next week after that. So not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. So the 10th into the 11th, there's going to be a big event on the channel. And I'm not going to tell you what it is until Thursday, so you'll have to tune in to find out what exactly that is. But it's I've already dropped a couple of hints through the stream, and what I just said was also a hint. So some of you guys might be able to piece some of it together. But look forward to it.
I like this. You're like
excited.
Clock King.
It's a thing that I will say it's a thing not everybody's going to care about, but those of you that want this will be very glad that I'm doing it, which sounds obvious, but all I mean is I know there are folks that want this. Anyway, thanks a lot for being here, and we'll see you again next time on the Captain Logan Show. Tomorrow night, Austin and I are going to be doing a request on some of Amalgam. We're doing the two 4-issue miniseries that spawned out of DC versus Marvel, which were All Access, and the other one is called Unlimited Access. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow night. That was requested, and in the meantime, we'll see you again real soon here on Geekvolution. I was Captain Logan, and we had DJ Martinez as always.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys, so very much. And leave your comments after the fact and let us know what you think about the slate. I'm sure we're going to see vastly different opinions all across the board. Bye, everybody.